I'm standing outside of Charles Village Pub in Towson, a place that for years was at the heart of the college nightlife. But behind the packed crowds, drink specials, and flashing lights, there's another side of the story, one told by people who worked here, bartenders, promoters, managers, people who kept this place alive, and in many cases were pushed out or taken advantage of. This has been the most requested video by the majority of people in Baltimore, and today we're finally telling the story they've been asking to hear. But before we dive into personal accounts, we have to understand how we got here. So first we're going to take a step back and look at the history of this place, where it all started, how it changed, and how it took control. This isn't about drama, it's about truth, and we're telling it one voice at a time. Before the smoke, before the stories, before the ship, there was a bar at the center of it all. Charles Village Pub and Patio, also known as CVP, wasn't just part of Towson, it was Towson. For decades, it stood as the default meeting place. A bar that wasn't just known, it was lived in. Every Towson student had a CVP memory. Rooftop summers, packed nights, birthdays, breakups, first jobs, and for many, their first legal drink. But CVP wasn't built by distant investors. It was run by people who had worked the floors themselves. Melanie Wagner and Eric Wagner weren't outsiders. They met working at CVP in the 90s. She was studying accounting, and he had just finished playing college baseball. They fell in love, got married, and in 1999, they bought the bar that had brought them together. They poured years into it, grew it, expanded it, turned it into a staple. CVP became more than just a college bar. It was part of the town's identity. But no success story is ever that simple. Because while music was loud and the crowds kept coming, something else was happening behind the scenes, something quieter. And in January of 2011, everything that had been building beneath the surface ignited. January 29, 2011, a date that scorched itself into Towson history. Just after 6 a.m., a 3-alarm fire tore through Charles Village Pub and Patio, destroying the entire building. The bar that once echoed with laughter, music, and slammed shot glasses now stood in ruin. The cause, according to the official report, a kitchen grease fire. The Baltimore County Fire Department arrived quickly, but the blaze had already made its way through its first floor and into the roof. More than 100 firefighters battled through the flames for hours. No one was injured, but the heart of Towson nightlife had been gutted. What didn't make the papers, though, were the questions, the doubts, the things whispered by those who knew the building better than anyone. Because according to multiple former employees, the fire may have not started in the kitchen at all. Several sources say the origin point was likely the basement office. Why would that matter? Because that's where they allege a very different kind of heat was building. Reports of substance abuse, late-night partying, and carelessness in management areas long before the flames erupted. Nothing was ever proven, no criminal charges, no lawsuits, just the smoke, the damage, and a rebuilding process that took over 18 months. When CVP reopened in 2012, it was bigger, cleaner, and flashier, but for many, something was missing. The fire had taken more than the building, it took the spirit. What came back looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. Some say the fire wasn't just an accident. Rumors surfaced that Charles Village Pub faced costly violations, upgrades and repairs that might have been too much to handle. Could the fire have been a way to avoid those expenses? A fire that erased the debts of yesterday, turning destruction into a chance for a fresh start. Over time, that change became harder to ignore. The vibe was different, the culture had shifted. And eventually that shift wasn't just felt inside, it showed up in headlines. A decade later, CVP would find itself at the center of a different kind of controversy. Not about the fire, but about politics, identity, and the company it chose to keep.
Bang, bang. This is America. Don't catch you slipping on. Don't catch you slipping on. Look what I'm whipping on. This is America.
By 2023, Charles Village Pub had survived a fire, a rebuild, and a pandemic. But what came next didn't come from inside the kitchen or from within the staff. It came from a decision, one that reignited controversy in a whole new way. In February 2023, CVP Towson was publicly listed as the host venue for a fundraiser organized by the Republican Women of Baltimore County, a conservative group planning to raise money for the families of individuals arrested in connection to the January 6th Capitol insurrection. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Community members flooded social media with criticism. Students, alumni, and local residents began calling for a boycott. News outlets picked up the story. For many, it wasn't just a political disagreement, it was a betrayal. CVP had long been a staple of the Towson community, closely tied to the university, its students, and its alumni. To some, aligning the bar even temporarily with those who participated in an anti-democratic event was a line too far. Facing mounting pressure, CVP's ownership pulled the plug on the event. In a statement, they claimed they had never fully confirmed the booking and were unaware of the group's true intentions. But by then, the damage had been done. The event didn't just get moved, it went underground, literally. Quietly relocated to a private residence nearby, but the conversation didn't stop with the venue change. Former employees, customers, and community members began to ask broader questions. Who is CVP really for now? What does it stand for? And who does it stand with? The tension wasn't just about a single event. It was about a pattern of silence, a pattern of shifting values, a pattern that some say began after the fire and only grew louder with time. And through all of it, Melanie Wagner remained the face behind the curtain, not just as an owner, but as the final decision maker. This wasn't the first time CVP had faced criticism, but it was the first time many in the public began to see it not as a misstep, but as a reflection of something deeper, because what a business chooses to stand for speaks volumes, and what it refuses to disavow speaks even louder. Up to now, we've laid the groundwork, but now it's time to hear from the people directly involved. The next conversation takes us into the kitchen, a part of CVP many never see, but where the culture speaks for itself. It's raw, it's honest, and it gives voices to experiences that often go unnoticed. Now go ahead, introduce yourself.
Check it out now.
What was your role at CVP?
So I'm Jonathan Finnerty. My role at CVP, I was their kitchen manager. Got called by actually them to fill this position.
Like they gave you a phone call
Yeah,
to
they
you?
gave me a call, yeah.
Wait, you applied first, or they gave you a phone call
I applied, and a couple months later, they came and gave me a phone call, like
to come discuss
to
the
come
role?
discuss it, and they were really willing. XYZ.
And what was your role, and how long were you there for?
I was there for about what?
I know it's been a minute, but
About 5-6 months.
5-6 months.
Yeah. And my roles, basically.
And what was that role?
The role was basically I was in charge of their catering, their kitchen staff, which would be like stocking, keeping everything moving, not scheduling.
Okay.
That's the one thing that she wanted to keep inside of her hands is the scheduling of her employees, because
Yeah, and
there's a lot of older employees that she had, and she wanted to make sure it was to her liking.
To her liking, right? So what was the official title?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kitchen manager.
Okay, got you. So as a kitchen manager, did you feel you were trusted to run the kitchen, or were decisions often overruled by ownership? Describe like a day-to-day, like you come in, like
Day-to-day.
You're 9 o'clock,
So
like you come in
basically-
at 9 or something like.
Day to day would be, for the trust part. I feel like you'd be trusted for like the first hour or two.
Okay.
And once you were finished your task, it basically was either overruled,
Or micromanaging.
micromanaged. So, all in all, no, didn't really have the authority that you're supposed to have. So, wind up,
What was like running the kitchen day to day? So let's say you walk into the building,
Mm-hmm.
you clock in. What? How's it go? Like, what would you do?
Immediately I'd walk in and go downstairs and check in on their reservations. Like if they either had rented out the restaurant, the catering orders.
Okay.
Put that together for the next 2 to 3 days. Line everything up.
Okay.
So just the kitchen can run fluidly because we're still doing service at these points.
Right.
In time.
Okay.
So I would check and see what we have. Make sure everything is pulled, set for the next day, previous, and onward, and place orders to restock.
Okay. And when it came to inventory, so what kind of input did you have when it came to the menu? Were you allowed to bring in your own ideas or adjust things based on food quality? How did inventory typically go? Like, did you have to like call somebody to place the order?
Had to talk to
What you
distributors
gotta-
and stuff. So it would have to basically go like this. I would have to contact the distributors, get a new printout of their items to see where we're working with, like with this company,
Okay.
and try to cut numbers.
Okay. Always keep costs low.
Keep costs low. And I found out it was really hard to start to deal with her distributors because at a point I realized they weren't paying their distributors.
Oh.
Yes. So they're running up like when I finally
Is that common in the restaurant? Like,
it's
I mean, like, because I know, for example, like me as I work in the cars right now, and sometimes like we order oil from, like we order oil like and stuff like that, but like we might pay them like $800 now, but we owe them like a total of $900, so we'll give them $100 later.
Totally
but
okay.
like,
but when I'm saying like you look at the bill and it's like $30,000,
oh,
so that means you haven't paid more than a couple.
okay,
And like so for me to even like finagle some deals with these people was damn near impossible.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, let's go look at other distributors. Since this is where we're lying at, and like you say, this people don't provide you this, and they're screwing you over on your product.
yeah. So were you allowed to bring in your own ideas or adjust things or tip? So it sounds like you were not allowed because you weren't allowed to even work with the
So I was
the
allowed
scope
to bring
of
in
the
the
thing.
ideas, but we ran into the same thing later on. It wasn't to her liking, meaning that she couldn't win over top.
Okay.
Like, you couldn't get over on whatever. Like, whether it was distributors, whether it was the food you were selling, she wanted to keep everything in her pocket.
Okay, I see.
So, even with rerunning the menus, she wasn't willing to do because she was still making hand over fist on what she's making.
I see. And it's also like because of the distributors and stuff, like how could you change the menu if...
How could I change it when I can't get anything?
Yeah, right? Okay.
Like, you got to beg to get trash bags?
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, you had to go through a whole different other thing on that network. What did we start using? Restaurant Depot and stuff like that.
I see.
So basically...
As a whole, instead of wholesaling, or
we
like
wind up ordering from them.
Okay. Were there ever conversations about improving the food or updating the kitchen? And if so, were those ideas supported or dismissed? Like, what kind of like quality of food were you getting?
The quality was brought up more than multiple times, and besides me, the chef that she had there originally, he would bring it up. But it seemed like once we would get to producing it, it would be taken back immediately. Like
it was never set in stone?
It was not. Even if we got a menu, because there's multiple times that we've produced menus and set them in stone within 24 hours, that was no longer applicable. We're heading somewhere else that I don't know.
Like she wasn't accepting of change.
No, exactly. The change that she
like even to see if the trial run will work well. Like if the guests like it or.
Yep. It wasn't ever.
How many changes do you think you did, or
tried
tried to do? What was like a
say,
significant?
Just on how for instance, the movement of the walk-in. Like how you rotate food, just to get it into that simple thing, so we don't have overstock, so we don't know.
Kind of like an assembly line.
Yeah, I got to the point where we tried to cut out X, Y, tried to cut out a certain amount of things because we have overstock. Within 3 days coming back, it'd be the same thing. She would reorder, she would cancel everybody else's orders, she would overstep me, the head chef, place other orders, and then order things that we don't even use in this restaurant.
What were some things that you guys were serving? Like,
so you run of the mill like chicken tenders, nacho plates, things of that nature.
Were they organic, like homemade, or? Well,
it said the chicken tenders were homemade, but no, the chicken tenders.
Oh, they weren't.
No, they come out of a frozen box by Tyson's.
No way. Like you mean like Tyson, like this Tyson's?
Yeah, Tyson's chicken tender. This would be kind of cool if we had the animal nuggets, but no, we just got the strips. So,
listen, I'm not gonna lie. The Tyson's chicken is actually really
delicious.
Good. It's delicious, but not restaurant. But not restaurant.
Not restaurant, especially when I'm telling you they're hand breaded and handmade
on the
house.
menu. Yeah.
Okay. Certain things like that where you're cutting corners just to make a budget or make your number. but then you leave out the fact of what you're serving your customers, and then you're blatantly lying to them.
So I guess this follows up to my next question. Did you feel pressured to cut corners in the kitchen to save labor or cost?
Yeah.
Or how did it affect your standards around you? Because
So like this, I felt pressured into the cutting of the corners and even work ethic because
you know you can do better.
you can do better. And then on top of it, you just don't have a set schedule. You're at another person's whim. It's less of a job and more of a dictatorship.
Yeah.
It's like I have to do this.
Like you're sitting there looking at the food and you're like, damn, I could make so much better. Just please let me.
So much better. And then you could make more money. You would save more money and you would have more left over. But we wind up getting to this threshold where it's just push, push, push. And then you get complaints at the end.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't up to par. Then you turn around and you blame your
Yeah,
kitchen.
because somebody might actually pick
How
up.
are you going to blame your kitchen for pre-made food?
Yeah.
This is all
Well,
pre-made.
yeah, because eventually someone like not everybody you're serving is just a guest. Like some people might be chefs or people that work in the food industry, and they're gonna pick up like, hold on, this tastes like Tyson's chicken, or like this tastes like something frozen or something like that. Were you ever asked to do anything outside of your job, like cleaning up after others, fixing things, or even helping with construction?
100%.
Like,
so for one part, especially the construction part, like I had no idea about this. So their upstairs patio has to get like bolted off during the winter.
yeah, I heard about that.
And like that needs to be installed by a professional.
Yeah.
Not your work staff.
Yeah.
So you take
It's kind of funny you mention that because I have another interview with somebody and they told me the same thing where it's they're asked to build this, they have to seal off the upstairs patio because of, obviously the cold and stuff and, to keep heat in. That makes total sense. But, you need like you said, you need a professional.
You got to weatherproof this thing.
Yeah,
you
a lot of
using it year after year.
Not everybody knows how to use like the tools and stuff, which is, it can go both ways.
Right.
But it's not like when you sign up to be a server, you're not, or a kitchen manager.
For example, like I signed up to be your kitchen manager. As you told me, you weren't doing any renovations to your kitchens. You weren't doing anything like significant, like flipping a kitchen, for example.
Yeah.
Less than 3 months or 2 months into it, I'm over here flipping a kitchen, like tearing out the floors, ripping out your equipment, deep cleaning it. This is supposed to be done by an outside entity, because it's supposed to be certain chemicals used. It's a hygiene level here.
Yeah.
Guys. Hygiene levels. Not having your kitchen staff run around with a bunch of degreaser and heavy chemicals with not the proper equipment to breathe or like cover their skin for you to do and use them as your regular pay. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Doesn't meet health codes.
Let's talk about the day you were let go. Can you walk us through with what happened with the dishes and why it wasn't even your responsibility at that point?
So as they were doing the renovation to the kitchen, they ripped out their old dish unit.
Okay.
That actually they weren't supposed to have.
Yeah.
They never filled that contract back out, so they had to get rid of that regardless. Ordered a new one.
What do you mean that they were never supposed to have that?
So when you have the dishwasher units and stuff, you have a contract with either what is it, Swift?
It's like another distributor.
So
Okay.
basically, people that bring you your
And there's
your
it's like a lease or something,
so it's a lease for,
or
2
or
years.
buy or
what is it?
or like a rent to buy or type of situation,
So
or just like a
majority
lease.
of most dishwashing units that you see are not owned by the facility.
Yeah.
They're owned by another party, and they bring them
Or
in.
the building, because I know there's this one place in Owings Mills, like the Mezcal place right by LA Fitness. They don't own the equipment there, but they
So you're renting it out.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out why this dishwasher wasn't working in the first place because we're not using the right chemicals and we're not using the right things and it's from a different person. It don't add up.
Yeah.
So finally they rip it out. The new one comes in. This is all management, which would be on her. She forgot to either schedule it or it was coming at a later date to install it. I had left early that day and I forget who was closing the kitchen. But I wound up getting a text the next morning telling
What time?
me, this was at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Text telling me to turn in my keys immediately. I need my keys. He said, I don't need you here anymore. XYZ.
Do you have that text by chance?
Actually, I do not.
You don't
I wish
have-
I did.
Okay.
It's on one of my old phones. So, I'm just reading this. I'm like, so wait, what's going on? She said there's dishes in the sink, all this, XYZ. Let me remind you, we're using paper plates and stuff at this time. So whatever dishes were left in that sink prior for me leaving, we have a person for that. It was a dishwasher.
Yeah.
Whatever reason he got let go earlier,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
So
because
I
you're
don't
already
have
out.
no
You're already
schedule.
outside of the building.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
I get blamed for. And by the way, I'll let you know, I never had a write up, no complaints.
Yeah.
And she just fired me out of nowhere. So I'm like, that's number one. Like that's grimy.
Yeah.
So as I try to talk to her some more, she just completely blocks me.
Blocks just out the blue.
Blocks me. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just try to go up there and talk to him. The gates, like she's obviously in the building. Her car's there. Doesn't want to come upstairs and talk to me about anything. I'm just trying to get the information for my contract. Like I signed with you.
Okay, so you weren't on hourly.
No, I was on salary.
Okay, so can you talk about that? How was
So salary started off when I first started there, which didn't even last like 3 weeks before I got a raise in the salary. It was like 52 a year.
Okay.
It's not bad starting off trying to get a feel for the place. Then it went up to 55. First paycheck comes, it doesn't reflect anything that you've told me.
Okay.
So we got down to the question of like, why is my salary pay like this? She would say, "Oh, you missed."
You don't have a copy. You probably don't have a copy of that in the
Can't
email.
get a copy of anything.
Wait, why?
So when I reached back out, I believe it was Teddy.
Okay.
Who used to do a lot of her paperwork and stuff. Teddy told me that any of those files where it comes to employees and stuff, she strictly has it.
Okay.
She controls it. And he basically told me, he's like, good luck getting anything from her. So what I figured out was nobody knows exactly what they signed.
Yeah.
When they originally started.
Yeah.
And nor was it ran down.
And I've noticed also when you sign, I don't know if you were there for it, but there's a non-disclosure agreement as a restaurant.
Never knew that.
Like I get it. Like if you work in a game industry or something where something's private, and I've worked in places like other restaurants where they have this clientele where you're not going to if they come into the building, like if Drake comes into the building, you're not going to they specifically say, hey, like don't take pictures of this person, whatever. But that's not what the NDA said. The NDA is just like don't talk. Whatever goes on here, don't talk about it. And luckily, we don't work there anymore.
Yeah, and if I knew that, I would never sign that contract. Because when you're signing any paperwork for starting a job, it's basically run the mill.
Yeah, it's
nor would you ever see it pop up unless it was embedded into.
Yeah, and typically you do get a copy of it. So
and the thing is, never got a copy of when I originally did. None of the managers, since I had started, I'm pretty sure to even modern time, have any copies of their contracts.
Okay, yeah.
So just to see this is exactly what you said you're going to pay me. So is your word your bond? Your checks aren't showing it, and then
or is it based on performance? It's like you're going to pay me what you think I'm what I'm doing.
I'm worth, which was kind of funny that you bring that up. Then I started to hear stories about, messing around with wages and hours.
Yeah.
So if I put in X amount of hours and you as a owner come up to me and say, I don't feel like you work those hours.
Yeah.
And then you take away from that employee.
When there's a clock in, clock out.
There's a clock in, clock out.
So you can see when I'm there.
It's already done. But you basically don't feel like paying me.
Yeah. What it sounds like.
So then you start to run into you realize who you're messing with. These people aren't just, oh, hey, yeah, we run a business. It's hey, we run a business and basically we don't give a you do.
Yeah.
Because if you're at the point where you can steal money from your own employees, where they put the hours in, there's no limit to what you will do.
Yeah, I will say that I found it a bit fishy the 2 times I worked, and it's I was a server there, but eventually I went into marketing, but what I found interesting was that I would give in my till, and when I had my till, my register, I would write out okay, here's my amount of pennies, here's about my nickels, quarters, dimes, then dollars, all the whole 9 yards, and I turn it in, and then I get told the next day or two that my thing is short, and it's how is it short? I use a paper to count it, and it's there's a way they have this formula or whatever to see I don't know at the bottom of the cutout
being
sheet.
On the management side, because they have me doing so many excess jobs, I'm just a kitchen manager. I'm not supposed to be doing your money drawers. I had started counting you guys out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, we're doing it with another manager. I'm not going to name him because I'm pretty sure they might still work there.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But I'd say on several occasions where we both sat there and counted them out. The next morning we walk in, all those drawers are still short.
Yeah. And if you think about it, because if it's short 10, 20, 30 bucks and you got 5 employees that night, that's like a good $150 come up that where is it going, you know?
Nobody
and then
knows.
Not even that, there's also the Keno drawer that needs to be at $200 every day. And then sometimes it's short and it's like, well,
like this. I calculated it up within a week. They were missing about, I'd say good about like $1,200.
yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
But it seems like this has been going on for so long that nobody cares. Nobody wants to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, or it's like more so like, you know, if you're like a young server that's in college, let's say you just turned 21, you have management telling you, hey, you owe us $10 or $20 or 30, whatever the number is. You're not going to be like, hey, well, I guess I do. But
yeah, you're not going to sit and argue with them.
Yeah, because like you're just, you might be green. It might be your first job. It very well be your first job.
And that's where you start to notice, like, when you see a lot of the bartenders and stuff, there are a lot of college kids that, like, they'll even voice it to you, like, man, she says this every week to me.
Yeah.
So they wind up losing whatever their pay is.
Yeah, like it's like a tax almost. It's like a subscription fee to work there. It's a membership to work there.
To have a job.
Yeah, it's a membership to have a job.
And it would get to a point where it's like, all right, you know, when you hear some people just say maybe they're carrying a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
When you start to go through their employee history years and years back, this is the run of the mill.
Yeah.
And when you have to hear that from like someone older than you, they've been in this, and they're like, why do you think I don't work for this person?
Yeah.
Then you really start to see like the cracks and crevices like start to widely open. It's like, it looks like a great place from the outside. Once you start to get into it, you really start to see it, and it's like the drinking. Hold
on, let's pause real quick. I need to reset the camera. All right, so we're back. So I wanted to ask you, I forgot where we left off. We took a little break. Everything we just discussed about, like you leaving CVP, you being fired. This also happened right after you just had a newborn too, right?
Oh, yeah.
How difficult was it to try to pivot so suddenly after losing the income? Like what was there? Was this like in the summer? Was this in the fall?
This was like towards, I'd say the middle of the season. Like, so basically.
What is the season? What do you mean?
We're like.
For viewers that don't know what you're talking about.
So, for the restaurant industry, like, when you get to like summertime, like a little past that, it starts to die off. So, in order for me to find a job when I was let go, it was difficult.
Was it a formal let go? Like, did you get any paperwork being like, here?
I got a text message.
You got a text?
I got a text over the phone with no verbal, no nothing. It was just that. And she used everybody else to, like, put a shield between
Oh,
her.
yeah.
So it's like,
the buffer. I love the buffer. That was
you work with the people, like, you're like, I'm not here to cause a commotion. I just want
answers
and information. Just like
she said, just don't talk to me. Talk to the manager, and the manager's kind of like.
She just basically didn't say anything to me. Just gave me that text, gave me that, and then I tried to talk to the management, gave them the keys, XYZ, and like any normal person would do if you're salary, you want to ask for your contract and see what your contract says. But now the contract is in her pocket; it can never be seen. And then you got to remember, like, I'm just having a kid. Just started a job. Finances aren't really in my way of getting a lawyer at the moment, just to go get a piece of paperwork just to see if you breached my contract, which I'm pretty sure you did.
You know, I went to great lengths to find you during our first interview, and I had a chance to speak with your wife, and your wife also told me about that day that she tried to reach out to Melanie directly to apologize and explain the situation. Yeah. Did she ever receive any response?
Oh, she didn't receive nothing.
She not just left on red, or left undelivered.
Like, and that's one thing too. It's like, if it's me, and understand, like, you might think your employee might have a lot of hatred to you, animosity. I can totally understand why you wouldn't return my calls, but like my wife reaching out to you to speak to you just cordially. Yeah. You don't even have the courtesy to give that person a response.
Yeah, just like, to be like, hey, you know, we're sorry, we're gonna go separate ways, or just something fine. Simple.
But like, that just goes to show you, is like, you preach about this is a family run business and we all care about each other, but it just,
you sure?
Sure about that? Because it seems like you just care about the bottom line, which is you
Do you think your termination was really about the dishes, or was it something else, like maintaining control? Was it like to like?
I actually believe
just
it
to like
was-
make you like out
it was-
like
yeah.
punish you to
It was
so
a
to
punishment
like a
because-
flex for them to be like, hey,
It was a
watch,
punish-
see what happened to him,
Uh-huh.
or like watch what
So-
will happen to you.
I'm glad you brought that up. I actually believe it was more about what I was saying because after the first pay, I had brought that up, and I wasn't the only one.
The things you're saying, like the quality
Yes,
of the
quality
food, of the food,
and everything.
like
and even towards pay.
yeah. Like
So I
she
thought-
wanted to be like a quiet puppy and just
Yeah,
kind of
quiet. Just take what I give you and just don't say anything.
Yeah,
And that question came up between all of us as managers because we're like, if we're all working the same amount of hours and we're all the same amount of pay, why is our pay
different. Why is it not? Why shouldn't we all be
Right.
the same?
Yeah. Like if we're
Or even close, like
Close.
$1 off, maybe
Yeah,
like
like a couple
a
bucks
couple
off.
cents or something.
a couple $100
yeah,
off.
yeah, okay.
And then it came to our attention that whatever was being said that we're making salary, which says that we're making salary, she basically broke it down to me and said, nah, it's like hourly.
Mm.
And in my head, I'm sitting here and I'm looking outside because they have the pay charge
Yeah.
from the government and how everything's supposed to work. And nowhere on that chart does it say your salary is hourly.
Yeah,
So got into that. And then we started to see where we're all supposed to be specifically into something else and wind up doing way past what our job was supposed to be.
I see. And you're getting paid less than
And
what
getting
you're
paid less.
So, with what happened with you? Did you witness others going through that as well?
yes,
like
100%.
Did you see like are there anything you can speak of? Like you don't have to mention the names of the people, but like was there instances where you're like, damn, that's is that questionable ethics? Like that could be illegal? Like something that you could attest to or witness that you saw or
What I can attest to a witness I saw was, let's say, let's go with this one, where we would have catering parties and stuff like that, and you're all supposed to get cut out, equal amount bartenders, XYZ. I've witnessed where it was said they were going to get paid, but whenever the money came in, which
which was what, months?
which wouldn't make any sense if you've already been paid up front.
Yeah.
And all your tips go into your machine where you can basically opt out all your tips
Yeah.
and give it to that party. And
Like the credit card tips,
yeah,
etc.
stuff like that. And it got to a point where like I'm there for some time still. I think we're at 4 months. And the people who were asking for that, their pay, this is 2 months
Yeah.
on the back rear end.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Although the
maybe it's because you have a lot of parties and it's hard. And then I started to notice there'd be no tip money in their boxes.
Yeah.
Like nobody can get their tip
Not going
money.
to attest to that because I've worked some events and it's like she made it clear. She did
Yeah.
give you forewarning saying, hey, you're not going to get your tips like immediately after that, like
Right.
you would working a Friday, Saturday night.
That's fine.
You're going to get them like a month or two later. And it's like, but even then, it's like by then you forget possibly
even have,
what you
because
even
there's
made.
nothing there's nothing written
Unless
down.
you wrote it down, but then it's like,
Then you got to convince her that that's true.
yeah.
So
Which
then
is
you
good
wind
luck.
up.
Good luck.
So basically, the employees weren't getting paid out correctly. They were getting taken advantage of like crazy. And the one thing that really blew my mind was the scheduling. Why she would change your schedule in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and not even like you have everybody's phone number.
Yeah.
Just because you said you want somebody to come in
Yeah.
at X amount, like X date,
Yeah.
you have to talk to that person.
Yeah.
I'm not scheduled. I do not. This is not like we're like nurses. Like we're on call.
Yeah.
Nobody is on call for this
Yeah.
place. And you would be the one who is wrong in the end.
Yeah.
So it's your day off. You're in the city.
Yeah.
You change my time in the middle of the night, and you expect me to be here.
Yeah.
Without no call.
And then when I tell you no, that like,
Tell me no. You'd be like, well, I scheduled you.
sorry.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like, if I get a schedule for my week, that's my week schedule. If you need to change it, call me.
Yeah. At least 48 hours
Yeah,
advance.
48
Like a
hours.
48 hours if it's
And
like that sudden,
I
you
found
know.
out this is a very common practice. Or, like, if you're supposed to work at 9, then it gets switched to 7 without letting you know.
Do you feel like back of house employees, especially kitchen staff, were respected by ownership, or is it more of a disposable mindset?
To me, it seemed like a more disposable mindset because of the way they treated the employees. and I'm be real with you, it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It got to
It's kind of like a car dealership, right? The sales
Yeah.
weren't being made. You get
right. And it's like, even when you're working, right? Like, I understand you can cut people because it's a little slow, but cutting people because you don't think it's as busy as it needs to be, and then wind up turning around, getting busier than it was supposed to be, putting more stress on the other employees.
because now they see what's going on, and it's like
and then you turn around and yell at us because this is not getting done because you probably have 2 people on your line.
Yeah.
It got to a point where it was a lot of people would just like, straight up just throw their hands up and like, look, I'll be here when I'm here, and if I'm not, I'm not. I guess they accepted that reality, and she lost a couple other good kitchen staff.
Yeah, because I remember when I was there, we had an all-star staff. We had a manager that worked at DC nightclubs. We had a chef. I mean, we had a chef that used to work for Atlas and come from a Chicago culinary background. Like, we had a guy from Vegas who was a mixologist, and from what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, he was also a manager too.
Yeah, he was also a manager. Yeah, he was
amazing,
amazing guy. Very down to earth. I've never seen him yell at anybody. But he was a mixologist. He was making all the drinks, and it's like you had an all-star team, and I've never
wind up had to work the floor a couple brunches because your staff doesn't show up.
Yeah,
or you didn't schedule them correctly.
Yeah,
and it's like your kitchen's short, so I'm running from the kitchen to serve your food, come back, and just try to keep this running.
Yeah, keep the machine going.
Like, you got one person standing in the front of the house, you got the back of the house open for a party, and one server.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on?
You got one server, and then the bartender's also serving, going to get food.
So it's like you're running around with your head cut off in this place. It's like, and it never needed to be like that.
Yeah, because you had all the tools right in front of you.
And then it's like, the favoritism stuff. Like, you allow certain employees to not show up or have an excuse, or well knowing they were sitting out drinking at the bars last night.
Yeah.
And then not show up. And then we're penalized for it.
Yeah.
So most of it just fell down on everybody else because you weren't able to have the authority of whatever position you truly wanted.
Or the proper mindset, probably.
Yeah, really. And it got to the point where it's like, at a certain point, I would just go into work not knowing what the to go on.
Yeah, right.
Because I would go ahead and set up to the tea that you wanted, your order guides, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know was like, this isn't good enough. And I was like, okay, so...
But you provided me...
and she would give you the sheets.
You provided me it.
Fill out the sheets, the whole 9 yards. And then you would look at me and be like, this isn't going to work. What do you mean this isn't going to work? It's like, first of all, I told her before, let me have access to your files. Never did any of that. It's like, because she was like, I have all of these. Like, this is the order guides from a year ago. Things that you don't even buy on these order guides. So you don't even know what you're buying and what the price is. So you don't even know what you're spending on an average basis.
Yeah, right.
So when I got that down, got that information over to her, she wanted to do more. She was trying to figure out why she's losing. And when she got the answer, she didn't like the answer. So she wanted to hire somebody else.
To give me the right answers I want to hear, which is probably still the same answer, just said a little bit differently.
It's the crazy part.
Yeah,
she would hire the people, and they would come in and say the same thing. And I would literally, genuinely sit there and have a conversation with them. It was like, it seems like you know what you're doing. Like, what's going on here? And I would tell you. And I had just walked into this place.
Which you're kind of jumping into my next question.
Okay.
Looking back, so by the way, those wondering, this is just questions I'm asking. This is not a script we're following. It's just kind of a guideline. Do you, looking back, what's something you wish people knew about working behind the scenes at CVP or future employees there?
Be ready for the unexpected. And I forget what somebody used to call it, but she throws tantrums. And that's one thing you need to know.
And it might not be your fault.
It might not. It might not be your fault. It could be your fault.
It could be.
But majority of the times it was
it wasn't.
It was maybe something on the outside brought in and then you got it. Or some other employee told her something that she doesn't like.
Yeah.
Maybe like me, for example. And then, that's how it goes. You speak up and you might get stepped on.
If you could say one honest thing to Melanie or Eric right now, what would it be?
You guys are your own downfall. The reason your establishment isn't doing to the T in part is because of you. It's no other reason. It's been told to you by consultants. It's been told to you by head chefs. It's been told to you by management, high and low. And it's to the point where it's like, you gotta wake up one day and understand that you put yourself in this position. And that's it.
John, I appreciate you stopping by and talking with me. And I'm glad you gave me a second chance to come by because, bro, I was so pissed when my first audio cut out. I'm like,
dude,
bro, I got to get him back. And you were sick.
Look, that was a test run.
This guy came out of bed. He was sick yesterday just to do this, just so you know how honest and serious we are about trying to really find the patterns and what's going on. And honestly, if there's anything she can get from any of these interviews or videos, it's just to kind of put it in your face. Just knowledge. It's just knowledge.
Knowledge is truth. Nobody's sitting here making up anything for no reason.
We are not making up anything.
We're not getting paid for this.
I appreciate it, John. Thank you. If the kitchen was the heart of CVP and the bar was its pulse, then security was its armor. But even armor can't protect you from what's happening on the inside. The people at the doors, the ones greeting every guest, diffusing tensions and stepping in when things turn, have a vantage point few others ever will. And what they saw behind those doors doesn't always match the image CVP sells to the public. In our next interview, we talk with the former head of security. You guys have no idea how long it took to find this guy. I've been calling him for months, been like, yo, when can you come down and sit down and talk with me? So please, can you introduce yourself and share how long you worked security at CVP?
My name's Johnny. They call me Johnny the Body. I was at CVP for about 2.5 months, 3 months.
What originally brought you into working security there, and what were your day-to-day responsibilities like? Break it down for us.
I was hired by a friend of mine. He was the general manager at the time. I was hired to be the head of security. So run all the security details, make scheduling for security, employees, day-to-day, make sure everything's safe, ran effectively, no problems, no issues, no fights, no weird stuff. There's always weird stuff.
How would you describe the general atmosphere of the bar on a typical weekend? Was it manageable or often chaotic?
It was manageable sometimes, but then when there was those nights when it got out of hand and a lot of stupid stuff was happening, a lot of...
What are some things that you would seen on like a night that was chaotic?
Chaotic.
Or unmanageable, or things that are like, I don't know, like weird?
A lot of fake IDs getting in the club because we didn't have enough of the real stuff to check for these IDs. The GM actually had to go out of his pocket to buy the flashlights to check the IDs. A lot of unorganized. The owners didn't know I was head of security, even though they knew I was head of security. I was told to, do not head of security stuff.
Okay. Do you feel, so this kind of goes off of that, do you feel properly supported by management when it came to enforcing safety or dealing with difficult situations like...
No.
Okay. Why or why not?
Because they always acted like they were...
Who's they?
Melanie.
Okay.
Melanie mostly.
Okay.
I didn't really work with... I forgot his name already. It was always micromanaging. I was constantly... had a full schedule, and then I'd check it the day later, shifts off. I was told I could hire staff. But then when I'd bring in people or get applications, they went, who knows where the paperwork went.
Now, hired staff to do security with you?
To do security with me, yes.
Okay. Were there ever times where you asked to look the other way or handle things off the books?
It wasn't that I was told to look the other way or off the books. I was supposed to be in position of power as security, head of security, but I was placed in the back of the club to watch the back door while... not be able to walk around, see if my staff's okay, see if everything's running smooth. Okay. So they didn't really put you in the front where you can actually see the traffic coming in and out. On the craziest night.
Okay. How involved were Eric and Melanie in night-to-night operations, especially during peak hours, and strictly security, like in your role there?
I never really seen them at night.
Yeah.
And I was always told by a floor manager that I'm doing my job wrong. Melanie doesn't like me. I think I'm in control, which I was hired to be.
Let's pivot back a little bit. So, where you work in other security areas, you don't have to mention those bars, but like, what is the differences in there, and like what you're like you have a standard to how you view
right,
things,
absolutely.
right?
And I've been in security for 15 years.
Okay.
And then all types of bars, all types of venues, everything.
What is like a checklist in your mind that
checklist? Make sure everybody's on top. Make sure all the staff's there. All the staff has positions where they have to be. Walkie-talkies if needed.
Okay.
Have the head of security should be the one walking around the club, making sure his people are okay, making sure everything's going smooth, making sure, nothing chaotic does happen.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that always happened there.
Do you ever feel that ownership interfered with how you or your team did your job?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So break it down.
Like I said, they always would act like I was just a new guy, even though I was brought in as
they always treated you as like you didn't know, like
I was a novice security.
Okay.
Like it was my first rodeo.
Okay.
Yep.
What were some of the most challenging moments you faced while working security at CVP?
Most challenging was one of the nights. Something happened at a bar on York Road, so they shut it down early. So all the students, whatever, came to CVP.
Okay.
I only had me as security.
Okay.
Because a lot of no-shows
happened
with my staff. They were there before me.
Yeah.
But didn't show up or didn't know. Or they were told the one guy gave notice of him going to Ocean City on vacation.
Yeah.
And I wasn't told that until I was in the building.
Yeah.
So I had no chance.
You didn't have time to clean up. Okay.
No communication whatsoever. So then I was I'm walking around doing my day like I should, walking around, checking everything. Mind you, it's chaotic already. I'm going to the door because I have no other person.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been at the back gate. I understand that should be watched.
Yeah.
But there was somebody else that could have done that.
Yeah.
And I'm going downstairs and I'm getting yelled at by the floor manager that I'm not doing my job. Meanwhile, they put a hostess, 19, 20-year-old girl at the front door of letting people in.
Checking
IDs out front of this chaotic bar. It was insane.
Yeah.
No experience. Nothing at all. And when I'd go to check...
And you guys didn't have the equipment, like the lights?
We had the flashlights, but they weren't top of the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like the actual, legit...
Like the scanner where... I heard about some scanner that they have where you got to put the, card in.
And it'll beep, or you scan, it scans.
And it's like
this was a flashlight, you can check fake money with.
Yeah,
or
okay.
A hologram.
A black light, okay.
Yeah. And every time I'd go to check on her, I'd be reprimanded. And I'm like, I'm the head of security. My duty is to
check, intervene,
make sure my people are okay.
Yeah, get information, and maybe they saw somebody stumbling in, and say this person's wearing a yellow shirt. Watch out for the guy or girl in yellow.
And I was scared for the 19-year-old girl's life. It was crazy. But I'm getting yelled at, and I'm being told I'm going to be fired for not doing my job, sitting at the back gate. Which yes, it's important. But as head of security, I was hired to be head of security, to make sure my staff's okay, to make sure everything's running smoothly.
Yeah. And part of those duties is to roam and check in, go to the checkpoint.
I shouldn't be. As head of security, they should be the ones roaming around at all times.
Yeah.
Make upstairs, downstairs. I hate running up and downstairs, but as head of security, I had to do that.
Yeah.
Not just stay posted, not stay stagnant. Especially in a busy club, and I only have one guard, which is not a guard.
Yeah.
It was a girl taking IDs.
Which is something that I was going to get into next. Was there a clear system in place for dealing with fights, medical instances, or overly intoxicated guests?
No.
Nothing that they had beforehand to be hey, this is our procedure or protocol to talk
never
to
had paperwork like that ever.
It was kind of just...
It was kind of just...
the wild, wild west at that point.
Exactly, yeah.
So let me ask you this: Did you feel your concerns were heard when you brought issues to the management? Were there issues? Were there things you brought up to the management as security, being like, "Hey, I need this to meet my standard of to make sure that this is run to the point where you guys don't have to answer for things."
And it wasn't even to my standard; it was to security
standard. The bare minimum. The bare minimum.
Exactly. No, it went right in one ear, out the other.
Okay.
I was told, I do my job. You're roaming around too much. You were hired as security. The owners didn't know, but should know. I was there when the GM told them I'm the new head of security.
Yeah.
They didn't treat me like head of security.
Yeah.
They treated me like just first time security guy.
Just a body.
Just a body.
Looking back, do you feel like safety was a genuine priority or just something for appearances there?
I think, yeah, just for appearance. Because, you can't just have nobody at the door, just letting people freely come in.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, a bar, yeah, of course, every bar needs to have it, but... it
was just like,
for sure.
We have to, or we're going to get in trouble by whoever. Like the cop, whatever, the police, whoever deals with that.
Did you ever feel caught between doing what was right and doing what owners expected?
Every time.
Break it down.
Every time.
Break it down for us.
Yeah, I said, I'm doing something right. Should have never had an 18-year-old that never did security. Female or male.
Yeah.
To be at a door on a hectic nightlife at.
Yeah.
Yes. And I tried to hire people before this event even occurred.
I know. When you were hiring people, was it something that was coming out of their pockets that they were going to compensate them for? Or was it something that they were expecting you to pay out of your pocket, but it was coming from a fee that you're...
None of my people got hired.
Okay.
I had multiple
so you're working with their in-house?
But nobody worked. People were coming in, filling out applications.
Yeah.
And they were just...
No, I'm saying, what security were, provided for you when you had security there?
Oh, I did.
Yeah. Was it their in-house?
Yeah. No, well, they were hired security. I had a talent who's awesome. I don't want to say his name. He plays baseball for Towson. He was probably the best guard I had.
Yeah.
He was on the but even he would get yelled at for stuff, and I'm like, dude, don't even listen to him. You're doing what your job is. He almost left multiple times, to the point where I'm like, dude, I need you, please,
because you get it, because you get it,
right? And he was actually like, all right, I'm not gonna leave you hanging. He had my back.
Yeah.
But others, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
At all, and they were in house or they were there. Like I said, I never got to bring in my own guys.
Yeah.
All my applications, and there was a few that would have been good, with experience and everything. That
of age too,
just throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Filled out an app, just throw it out the window. They didn't want to pay. That's what it was.
You feel like that's what it was? They just didn't want to pay them, or they just wanted them to work for free,
or barely scheduling. Like I said, I'd have a full week schedule, and then Melanie would just change it up, and I'd go from dude, I had 4 days this week. Why do I have 2 now?
Yeah.
Why am I getting cut before the other guards? I'm the head of security.
And there might even be a pop that comes in on those days that might be
and
cut.
it'd be on weekends.
Yeah.
Like I said, that night when that bar got shut down, and everybody from that bar became a CVPs.
Yeah, and it was just you.
It was just me.
Was there any particular incident or shift that made you realize it was time to leave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, say it like it is. Take your time if need be.
So one night there was a private event. This is Eric, right? The owner.
The other, there's Eric and Melanie.
Eric, there was a private party in the back room.
Downstairs or upstairs?
First floor, I believe.
Oh, okay, back patio. Okay.
Yep. It's hectic night. He's getting drunk. He's hammered.
Yeah.
Hammered out of his skull. First,
it's just silly to even think about.
It's funny, dude. It's up, but it's funny. First, we get to the door. We get to the what was that?
Someone's security acting right now. I see somebody move.
Say I'm on my. So first, Eric has a younger son, teenager. Allegedly, I guess his friends got into the bar. Mind you, I'm not even at the door. I'm upstairs. I think there was something else going on. And I can't remember what was going on all the way up.
Maybe a catering event.
You might be right. All the way up.
Yeah.
So we got to get downstairs, and Eric's out my door guy. Why you young people in here, blah, 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 blah. Mind you now, the fake IDs now aren't like when we were going out.
Because even when I was working bartending upstairs, these girls would come in with like
they're on point, bro.
Yeah, and it would say like Vermont, and it's like I look at them, it's like, girl, you know nothing about Vermont,
right?
Like, but it's like we can't do anything.
You put the light on it, and it's got the holograms and everything.
Yeah,
like legit. That's why you need the real scanner thing.
Yeah.
Because that'll tell that it's a fake ID.
Yeah.
The black light doesn't work like that.
Or they don't. Or you can we can quiz them on it because they definitely
or that.
Yeah.
Like when an Asian guy gave me a white guy's ID.
Wait, what?
An Asian guy gave me a white guy's ID before. That's ridiculous. But anyways, so Eric's yelling at my guy, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, I'm head of security.
Yeah.
What I was hired to do.
Yeah. Let me de-escalate it.
Let me de-escalate. But he comes up, he's like, you work here? And I'm like, no, I'm just coming up to you to act like I work here. Like, what the hell? The dude was crazy. He was drunk out of his mind. So that guy, for his son's kids, or his son's friends coming in, and he knew them. So I get it. Well, that's your son telling his friends, say, my dad owns a bar, you can come in.
Yeah. So
then, that gets de-escalated, figured out. I go behind the bar to get a Monster Energy drink. He spots me. Eric spots me from from somewhere. Flies behind the bar, in my face, tells me, you didn't pay for that. You stole that. I said, I just grabbed. You saw me just grab it. He said, that's the problem. People keep stealing drinks. Mind you, I've worked at bars forever.
Yeah.
Other than liquor,
yeah,
I've never had to pay for a soda,
soda,
a Red Bull,
or even a water bottle.
A water, anything. He's in my face, like spitting in my face, yelling at me about this. I think I set him off really bad when I said, how much does it cost, sir? He said $5. I said, here's $15. And that made him snap. He proceeds to storm away from the bar, go out front. There's these random kids, they're not even trying to come in CVPs. Starts a fight with some 18, 19-year-olds and headbutts one. I proceeded, I was upstairs. This is when I stormed upstairs and I told the GM, I said, look, bro, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. I'm going to fight this guy if not. I try to keep my composure, but he's in my face about a monster. And then he proceeds to headbutt a kid outside. So then that was like the last straw.
Yeah.
That I was like, dude, I didn't even quit that night. To be honest, I just no-showed.
Yeah.
This place. This is stupid.
It's literally silly. I don't know if you might know the answer to this one. Do you think CVP changed over time? And if so, how did it affect your role of security? But I don't...
I could probably answer that because I feel like it didn't. Because I didn't even work there when they had the January 6th event. It's the same. It seems the same. They're
stuck in their ways.
Stuck in their ways.
Now, try to be kind with this last one. If you could, and you don't have to say anything either, but if you could say anything directly to ownership right now, what would you want them to hear when it comes to security and like your perspective on it, or them, or whatever?
I mean, to save their asses, hire people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the people that you hire that actually know what they're doing, trust them.
Yeah.
Trust them to do their job, especially if they have experience or a resume with experience. I get it. Bars hire young kids, whatever, first-time job, bigger guys, football players, whatever. They only do it a summer or whatever. But you got to give them a chance as well. Don't just first day type come at them over a mistake. Ream them out over one bad mistake. It happens. Get over it. Learn again. But just... And it's the safety of your customers.
Yeah.
And your staff.
And your liquor license.
Like, it's the... it makes the whole rest of the bar go around other than food.
Yeah.
Or the booze, like, you know, like, especially in a big bar like that. And I like that place. I like the people I worked with.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, all of us, we all known each other from outside.
But I feel like we bonded more.
Yeah.
Like, me and you became like closer, really.
Yeah. What really made that place fun was working with everybody, each other. But what made that place intolerable are amongst the things that we're going to hear in a lot of these interviews with people from different aspects. Whether you're security chef, it's just people were beaten, like
it was just
for
disrespected.
Yeah,
for nothing.
Undermined,
micromanaged, super micromanaged.
Yeah.
The GM couldn't schedule. The GM couldn't make the schedules.
Yeah.
Why'd you hire him?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you. Finally, I was able to find you.
It's because I'm ribs. That's the only reason.
That's because I cooked them ribs. But hey man, thank you.
You already.
After hearing from the people inside, from the kitchen to security, it was important to understand how CVP treated the people they partner with. TapIn Promotions threw some of the biggest events this place had ever seen, but behind the packed nights and loud music, there's always another side of the story. This is what happens when outside talent tries to work with CVP and what they were met with. For those who don't know, tell us, what is TapIn and introduce yourself.
Yep, my name is Conrad Brake.
Gotta throw a party for my day ones.
I'm one of the co-founders of Let's Tap In. We are currently a digital marketing agency servicing hospitality and SaaS clients, but we started our company as a nightlife technology company. We built 3 different platforms focused on crowdsourcing live information on local bar scenes. The second one was live entertainment audience engagement, where solo musicians, bands, or DJs could send song requests straight to the entertainer in less than 3 clicks. We partnered with Spotify on that platform. And the final one is our ticketing platform that we built out for our events. So we started as a tech company, now we're a digital marketing agency, and have worked with probably close to 100 different bars and clubs at this point up and down the East Coast.
What made you choose Towson as your base?
So my partner and I are Towson alumni. We played football at the university here, and when we first were starting the initial idea of the company and the app, we went around, and my co-founder Ryan had a really good relationship with a lot of the bar owners in the area because he patronized them often on the weekends. So we booked meetings with every single bar owner in Towson, and we met with all of them. And that was our home. We knew the market really well. We had some advantage as home base, and that's why we started in Towson, just because it was close and we knew everybody, and it was kind of like our sandbox.
Oh, how did you first get connected with CVP? Who reached out first? Was it you or them?
We had reached out to them, and we actually got in contact with them through their social media manager at the time. I believe the girl's name was Sydney. We had a meeting over Instagram chat, like the video chat conference you can do on Instagram. We met with her over that. She was like, hey, I'm going to pass you on to the owner, Melanie. And then we met with Melanie, and I forget they had a general manager at the time. Her name was Amanda, who we met with, had 2 or 3 different meetings, talked about the idea with. And she said, hey, you guys have a large social presence. You played football here. You're building out this app. Our Thursday nights are really slow. Would you want to come host some events? And I had a friend who was about 5 or 10 years older than me when I was in high school and early years of college, who did a lot of promo. He ran bar crawls. He did like nightlife promotions. So I had some background in it. I used to help him on some of like the just nitty gritty work. So I was like, okay, I think this is a good opportunity. We can get people to, we can make some money selling tickets to the event, getting people onto our app. And I thought that was a good move for us to just, I think it paired well with the nightlife app. So we said, heck yeah. And so we initially engaged with them, trying to get them onto our app. They pitched us on hosting an event. And we hosted our first event with them on February.
Oh wow, you have it right there.
Yeah, this is
your track record.
This is some of our track record. We've had this up for a few years now. It was February 3rd, 2022.
Wow, okay, sick. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the working relationship with CVP. Talk to us about the early relationship between TapIn and CVP. What was the energy like?
It was positive. I think they were hopeful. It was slow. during that time period of like coming out of COVID. All the bars were super slow, right? So because government lockdowns, right? People couldn't patronize the venues.
Yeah, they put like limits to like how many people can come into houses, even houses. Like it was like 15. Well, I think it was like what 15, like 15 or so, or like maybe even 10.
Yeah, and then you had to like sit in groups of no more than 6. You had to wear your mask into the restaurant. So like that, all those things like deter people from going out. So all the bars were super interested in being on the platform, and the energy was good. They were hoping this was going to work. But even I remember now, I was thinking about on the drive in. I remember the day of our first event, I was getting a haircut, and they're blowing our phones up about freaking out about this and that, and you know, some of that like anxious energy. But the working relationship was solid. It was positive, and for us, we were super green. We were brand new, right? So we didn't know any better. We were just trying to make this work. This was kind of the launch of the business, especially in the event side.
Yeah, it's like both on both ends. It was like their first time working with you, and your first time working with them, or really anybody. Yeah.
So we didn't know any better. So we were just like, okay, that's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I mean, it was fine.
What role did Melanie play in that relationship? Was she involved day to day with anything like with TapIn's like stuff, or is it more behind the scenes? Like basically, she gave you the reins to like basically do your Thursdays however you want to do, and maybe you check in with the GM at the time, or how did it?
Our working relationship was she is the decision maker there, right? She's the owner, so she makes all final decisions. We met with her once or twice at the beginning stages, then we met with the current GM, and then after we hosted our first event, they brought in Paul, who I believe is kind of like director of operations or...
the invisible hand.
Yeah, the invisible hand, right, Paul? So I met him after our first event. But Melanie, we would meet with her weekly on like a Monday. I would see her on Thursday nights. And then she did give us a lot of freedom too. We got to pick our own themes. She allowed us to kind of control the door for a period of time. Allowed us to bring in our own entertainment, our own staff. We would staff the place with like 6 or 8 people, from 2 media guys to a DJ to 3 or 4 door guys, Ryan and myself, and then we even had like our girlfriends. Like we had like a step and repeat banner we had right when you first walk in that foyer. We used to cover all that stuff that was on the left side of the wall.
Oh yeah, with all the flyers and the business cards.
Yeah, we would cover that with the step and repeat, and then our girlfriends would facilitate a lot of media coverage so people would get their photos. So it's like you scan your ticket or you pay the door. First thing you do when you walk in the door is you get a smile, you know, pretty girls.
That's that marketing right there.
Yeah, right. Getting some photos. Right, and then, but yeah, she gave us a lot of freedom. So yeah, I think it was, she didn't dictate to us early or pretty much ever what we were going to do in the sense of like themes, marketing, what we can and can't do on that level. It was mainly like, and some of it was a learning experience on our end of like, it's not our venue, right? We're bringing all these people here, but it's her venue at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So like, I would say she gave us a decent amount of freedom.
Okay. Do you feel like CVP respected the work you're bringing in? Why or why not?
So we worked with them for 2 years. We worked with them all of 2022 and then pretty much all of 2023.
What's your last event that you worked with them? Is it on here by any chance?
It is not on here. You can actually see the transition over to, this is actually a Silks event. We ran one event with them. But that was because we left CVP. I would say our last event with them would have been in September of 2023.
Okay, we'll get into that one.
And then, what was the question again?
Oh, do you feel that CVP respected the work you're bringing in? I would say more so in the beginning.
Yeah, I would say that spring of 2022, I think we blew her pants off. I don't think she expected us to do that. I remember even having a conversation with her where she was like, wow, like a lot of people talk a big game, but like you guys did exactly what you said you were going to do, which I did appreciate at the time. But then, you know, people, money changes people, right? So like the relationships was very strong in the spring of 22. It got a little washy in the fall of 22, and then as we roll into the spring and all of 2023, it was a battle.
All right. Were there ever conversation about growing the events, doing more with the space, or long-term collaboration?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of that. So we wanted to, in the summer of 2022, we wanted to bring in an artist and run like a concert there.
Can you talk about which artist that was?
Yeah, it was Shy Glizzy.
Okay.
We linked up with his management team, met with them down in DC, DMV guy. We were hot, we were naive, we just wanted to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So wanted to throw a concert there. As we got into the works of all of it, I think that's a lot for a venue to kind of take in, especially old school kind of people. So that didn't end up working out. We ran a beer Olympics tournament.
Did it not end up working out because of the space, or did it not work out because of logistics or logistics?
A little bit of both, but more logistics. I think it's a big lift to put on a show like that. Yeah. We were having conversations about kind of the split between the almost co-proing the show with them, right? Of like, would you want to come in on the show? And then I think once those things, I think it just became a little bit too much, and they were like, we'd rather do nothing than try to potentially do this and have trouble. So yeah, mainly logistics, and some of it was venue as well. But I think it's a big space upstairs, right? So we could have done certain things.
And I mean, the whole venue's huge.
It's massive space. And then we ran a beer Olympics, which was a lot of fun. What else did we do in that summer? And that's it. So we tried to do some things that expanded it, but what we kind of defined is that like it's a seasonal college business. Right? So just lock in on what you're good at.
So now we'll jump into the challenges and breakdowns that you have all there. At what point did things start to shift? When did you feel the relationship wasn't the same anymore when you first started going in?
It was probably the fall of 22. We had, and some of this was a learning experience on my end as well, is that we had in the marketplace, we had in the spring of 22 pulled so much traction and foot traffic into CVP that historically wasn't getting that foot traffic, that the other bars needed to compete in some way, and how they did that was through dropping prices, right? So in the fall of 2022, unanimously, pretty much across every single bar in Uptown is $1 drinks, right? Dollar rails, right? Which at a venue level, like, you're making money, but you're not making that much money, right? I remember looking at some of the sales reports, and we were selling $1,100 rails, but it's only $1,100, right? So we had the volume, but since it was a race to the bottom between the different venue owners, because it's very competitive, especially in the Towson market, none of the bars play well together. I know a lot of different bar cultures that ownership works together, right? Where they're like, hey, look, like, we have this pie here, we all got a slice of this pie, let's make sure the pie gets bigger. Here, they would rather compete with each other and say, I'm going to steal your slice of the pie, which is interesting. So we had to drop prices to compete, and that affected sales on her end. So I think that it was like instead of coming together and finding better ways of approaching it as a team, I think it went from I'm going to take from you instead of we need to figure this out. The relationship definitely started to change in the fall of 2022. It was someone almost losing control, and then for us on our first rodeo. Our first rodeo with a venue, it was very stressful, it was very challenging. And there was actually a week that we said, because she was trying to take a split at the door, right? The original deal was you keep the bar, we keep the door, right? It's a pretty standard promoter deal. And she was trying to get the door, and we're like, hey, like, just let you know, like, if we don't host an event, no one's coming. And they were like, trying to call our bluff on that. They're like, I bet you're wrong. So then we didn't host an event in the middle of the semester, and nobody went, right? So then we go back the next week, and I was like, okay, like, we lost money, you lost money, like, hopefully we all learned our lesson here. And it just continued, right? And understanding now, like, I probably was just an add-on for her from daytime sales, but for us, that was everything. Yeah. Right?
That was like make or break it.
You know what I mean? For us, it was make or break. And at that time, we had built more venue relationships and grown the business larger, which helped us. But it was definitely, they were our number one client for a year and a half.
Because if it's not broken, don't fix it. But it's also like, you know what I mean? Like,
So
like
then
we need each other, but like
right. It was a symbiotic relationship where they needed someone to drive the traffic, be the face of the company, and then they serviced everybody inside the bar. They had the staff, they had the liquor license, they had the inventory, so security. It just slowly but surely deteriorated, and then you just lose trust, and then it just.
Were there any specific moments or red flags with management, especially Melanie, that made you rethink working with them? Like, I know you just mentioned, like, with the prices being dropped down, then she had to compete with other areas, other bars in that scene. Like,
I would say I remember having a story where this was sometime early in the fall of 22, and we used to put a capacity on 18 up tickets, which made sense, right? Like, you only want a certain amount of them in there. But we have a line of like an extra 150, right? So she pulls me to the side, she makes a side deal with me. And I remember Well, she's pitching me the deal. I'm like, okay, am I going to take this deal? Because once you take the deal, once she is able to have a sip of the drink, she now knows what the drink tastes like, and then it's going to continue, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, do I take the short-term deal to make a little bit more money tonight, or do I not take the deal and hold precedent? And it was a learning experience for me because I took the deal. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end of the relationship. Because I don't remember the exact terms of the deal, but let's just say, it's, to make a number, it says 50-50 on the door. It went from 50-50 to 60-40 to 30-70.
60-40 her.
Yeah, and then just slowly, we lost leverage on where we were because I broke precedent, and she just came for it all, right? So then at some point at a business level, we're like, okay, like people follow our community, right? Like,
it almost felt like you were giving up your your promotion, your traffic to the venue, and it was just like you're working for nothing, I guess. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
And there's really no growth for you there too, because you need the money to roll over to like also build up your your base
team and staff and all those things. Yeah, and that was some of the things I articulated to her was like, hey, like, you know us, it's not like it's just me and Ryan standing here, right? We have like 8 people we're bringing in, right? And like that's part of the magic, right? And that's what I was trying to articulate to them was like, this isn't like I post a flyer online and the people show up, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like an actual...
There's a science to this.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a science, and there's like an energy, and there's like a almost like a customer journey of like, yeah, you pay, which sucks, but then you get treated very well when you first come in. You have some like...
It's a brand recognition thing that when you're coming to a TapIn event, that there's going to be, these are the things that are you're a standard. You're creating a standard.
Yes, and our standard, that's a great word for it. Our standard, I said, with this deal, we can't continue with our standard. And you know, it was way more dramatic.
So I feel like you kind of answered this question, but did CVP ever try to take control of your events, branding, or crowd?
Yeah, I mean, for sure they definitely did. They not like a hostile takeover per se, but like I remember finishing up 22. We finished up 22. Great year with them. It was a little rocky there at the end, and then they did some event over the winter break, like December, early January.
On their own. Trying to get the residual.
Yeah, trying to get some residual, and they got hit by the liquor board because they did some dumb shit, right? So then going into 23, they were not shut down, but they were, you know, like...
The gray area limbo.
Yeah, like that limbo gray area of like, we can't do anything right now because we got slapped on the wrist, which hurt our business. And then going into the fall of 23 is when we kind of kicked it back up.
Bar owners, you listening, don't deviate from a standard.
Yeah, and just let everybody do what they're best at. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I forgot what. But yeah, dude, they.
Taking control of the events, branding a crowd, because I mean, yeah, it sounds like because you guys were absent and getting the residual.
Yeah, and then there was there's one story in particular. I can't say the number, but by the end of fall 2022, we would be. The event set up, we already run the marketing. And there's like 2 or 3 weeks in a row where she would be like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Like 5 minutes before the event starts, we have 200 plus people lined up out front. Security's holding them back, waiting to come in. And me and her getting like this 45-minute blowout. And she was like, hey, like, if I don't get X from you right now, we're not doing this event. Right?
5 minutes before is insane, though.
Yes, dude, it was it was like out of a movie situation where I was like, am I really doing, like, is this happening right now? And then like in the moment I just dealt with it and we rolled, but then reflecting on it I was like, that was pre-planned, right? Like that's the best time to catch me is right then and there, because like us and them had a good relationship where like we could debate with each other for like extended periods of time, but then at that point, like, he kind of got us by the balls right now. Like, we already had people outside. We've already drove all this traffic.
Yeah, what do you do? Like, do you say, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna pay that rate, and then your whole event falls apart. You got some angry visitors and damage control. It's like, where do we go next? Like to still pick up that momentum.
Yes, and I'm not gonna go outside and be like, this is what just happened, and like, get this, everyone get the out of here. Like, that's not our style. So I'm like, okay, like, you caught me lacking right now, right? So then you broker the deal. And yeah, I mean, once those type of activities were happening, we knew it was kind of time to exit stage left on this engagement.
Which is what I was going to jump into next. So I'm assuming what ultimately led to TapIn stepping away? Was it that particular story, or just those multiple instances of that same exact behavior?
I would say it was that story and others. and it just came to a point where it was eye-opening as a marketing promoting team that like you begin to humbly realize you don't own a venue.
Yeah.
Right. You don't control key factors in this engagement.
Yeah.
And you are.
Which is true, because if, like, per se, something happens, there's an injury or whatever, it falls on the owner rather than you guys, because, I mean, she probably sees, like, okay, you guys will just go to the next venue, but...
well, we actually had to carry, we carried a $2 million general liability insurance that they required us to get.
Okay.
And then, I forget what the term is, but you, like, co-sign them together.
Okay.
So, like, if something like that was an exact example. They were like, well, what if somebody breaks their leg going up and down the stairs drunk? Right? And we're like, all right, we'll buy a general liability insurance policy. So we bought it, tied it into there, so if something happened that like they would be the first and then we would be the second. And then I said after 2022, we knew that we couldn't go on this kind of handshake deal with them anymore, so we went ahead, paid our lawyers, and got them to sign up a contract.
Oh, you actually got them to sign a contract?
No, they wouldn't sign it.
Oh, what funny fact.
Yeah.
Wonder what...
Yeah, we got a contract put together that was like just like a terms of agreement here.
Yeah.
Like, this is the conditions that we're going to do this in. You're going to guarantee us 15 events for the spring, right? And like, because what was happening was we would go in on a Monday, meet and set terms on Monday, right? And then Thursday would roll around and then they would try to adjust the terms, right? Or then I would broker a deal with like the husband or somebody that is like a decision maker there,
Yeah.
and then they would get overrided on later in the week. So like it's almost impossible to plan and have confidence in your partner or the client, partner, whatever you want to call them, if things are agreed upon on Monday and then changed by Thursday.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it's too many variables up in the air.
Or just waiting long enough for communication like that. Because I remember when I was doing marketing for them, because that's how I met you guys.
Yeah.
When I was doing marketing for them, I don't know, I don't remember what year, but I was looking around like, who's the movers and shakers that's doing promotions? Because everybody in certain towns and cities, like in DC, they have Glow, you know. So who's doing it in Towson? And I heard about you guys, and I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant what you guys have. Like, you have the app, and I was like, what the f***? Like, what happened? And then I found out that, you guys are at CVP, and then, now this all makes sense. But they also didn't want to sign my contract because I did everything for them in October with the Halloween party and such, which I'll get into my own segment on that. And I was like, look, here's a contract. I'm not doing shit unless you sign it. And I was like, you can adjust whatever terms you want on it, but they never signed it. I was like, look, you can do what you want with it. Just tell me and communicate. But they never signed it.
Yeah, they didn't sign ours either. And we didn't work with them for like 8 or 9 months. I think we hosted 1 or 2 other events later in 23. And then that was kind of like, I don't think it needed to be sent. I think it was just over at that point. But yeah, I mean, that same exact contract, I probably had half a dozen other venues agreed to sign it. So it was, one of our business learning lessons out of that engagement was like, I think it was like 60 or 70% of our revenue was tied to them.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we kind of broke ties, it was like, whoa, right? 70% of our business is missing. So now we intentionally keep it very diverse, right? We don't want to have one client that accounts for more than about 25% of revenue.
Yeah, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
You can't put all your eggs in one basket because you don't control key variables.
Yeah.
Right? And they could wake up and say, dude, I don't like your shoes. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting. I also think that we were some of the early, not pioneers is a big word for it, but like early people to create, like, I think it's nightlife, especially now in 2025, is promoter driven.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
you can't just use social media flyer. You need people on the ground, boots on the ground to,
people who build their community, foster their communities, and they're going to drive in that traffic into the venue. I think people are pretty venue agnostic nowadays. Like, they don't really care if they are going out. Some people might have a favorite spot, but I do believe that promoters and promotion groups are really like driving nightlife traffic as of today.
Yeah, but also not many people have an app like yours. Like, I mean, when I was browsing through finding out what exactly is this app, like, you can see where your friends are at, you can see the bar specials, you can see reviews of the bars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like something I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's almost like it's a like Live Nation ticketing app. I mean you can probably also buy tickets directly from the app. Is that possible? Okay.
Yeah, now as of 2025, no, but back in the day, yes.
Do you feel like you were pushed out, or is it a mutual decision?
So I believe that it was a combination of a mutual decision. They put us in a position at a business level that we couldn't accept the terms of the deal. We didn't want to leave. We had no desire to leave. We told them multiple times we want to be here. We started this events company here. Like, we have no desire to leave. We have a great community. But they put us in a position where we had to walk away. So I don't think their intentions were for us to walk away, but the terms that were provided to us didn't give us a choice.
How did that situation affect your brand, or how you view partnerships now?
It was a huge learning lesson for us. It was our first engagement at that level with any venue. We learned that, I don't know if I said this earlier, but we learned that we don't control any key factors when you're working with somebody else's venue. They do. It's their stuff, their bar, their club.
Their liquor, their rules.
They make the final decisions, which was eye-opening to us. Which is ignorance. We didn't know any better. But it affected us deeply. They were about 60 to 70% of our revenue at the time, and it just fell off a cliff like that. So we had to do some reshuffling. We had to go back out and kind of recover ourselves. It was painful. 2023 was a really hard year for us, partially because of that, partially because of other reasons. But I would say now, with that experience, I laugh now, like, I don't think I'll ever encounter another venue ownership or engagement like that again. And if I do start to sniff that, I understand what I'm dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
Because before I didn't know really what I was dealing with, and now if I see that, I have a much better understanding of who I'm dealing with and how to deal with them.
Yeah, it's like you're having a taste of like a certain food. You're like, is this how it's like everywhere? It's like, no.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's not like that anywhere. It's a very unique situation, but I'm glad it happened. I'm not glad that it happened, but I'm glad I had that experience. And I definitely keep that situation with me for probably a while.
Yeah. Looking back, so final thoughts. Looking back, what do you think CVP missed out on by ending that relationship?
I think they missed out on their connection to the Towson community. We were driving in 600 to 800 people every single Thursday, and only on Thursday, right? Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to bring people back on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah, they didn't give you Fridays, or they didn't want to. They just wanted specifically Thursdays from you guys. They didn't want to do like Fridays and Saturdays with you.
They were open to us doing those, like Saturdays. We did a couple of, we called them back-to-backs. So we do a Thursday, and then on Friday we would drop a flyer for Saturday. We did it like twice, and it actually went really well both times. But for us, we knew that there was like a saturation level to it of like, if you do that every single weekend, people are going to lose the drive for it.
Yeah, you got to have people miss you.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of that, like, oh, I'm excited to go back on Thursday. Or they go back to the venue and they're like, wow, this is not what it was. Yeah. I forget what the question was, I'm sorry.
What do you, looking back, do you think CVP missed out by ending the
Oh,
relationship?
yeah. Like I said, they missed their connection to the community. I think they missed strategically at a team level. They missed two young guys who really had their hand on the pulse of the community that could have helped them in other ways. And if I was that ownership clearly we showed it, identified it, and I would have brought them in at a deeper level. So we were always surface level, unfortunately, on the relationship. We didn't get to go any deeper on the branding or like the direction of the company. And I think that's what they missed out on. I think they missed out on having two young guys that they had the opportunity of having, two successful young guys and a great company that had their start there and that would have loved to stay.
Now, leading up to that, you guys are doing events more so in Towson area, Green Turtle now.
Yes.
And if I didn't really want to dive too much in that, but how much what is that relationship like compared to like where you were at CVP?
Night and day. Night and day. And they are a large corporation, right? They understand business at a deeper level than just like X's and O's, right? Like, okay, what I've found is a lot of single bar ownership is like point in time focused, what is happening right this moment, which is good and bad, mainly bad. And like a company like the Green Turtle is more interested in like brand exposure, right? Having a good time at the venue because they have 30 locations.
Yeah. Right.
So you come have a good time at Towson, you actually live in Frederick, and when you're out in Frederick, you're like, yo, I love Green Turtle. I had a good experience there.
Because it's the standard in the brand. Like it's going to be throughout like on all venues. It's going to have the same food, same kind of experience, same drinks, maybe different specials, give or take.
Yeah, and it's more of just like having good experiences at their locations, which will drive customer frequency.
And they have the what is it, the something BetMax, or it's like the
Bet Park X. Yeah. That's only in the Canton location now. But yeah, they're incorporating different type of activities, and for them, having a team of people that can come in and drive 600 to 800 people every single week is a game changer for them. And they're a company that's brought us in at a deeper level, right? And they've really reaped the benefits of bringing in somebody who has their pulse on the community, can help them in multiple locations. And, you know, when you have a relationship like the one we have with CVP and then you have it with Green Turtle, you appreciate it more because you're like, okay, like they understand what we're doing, they understand what the value we're bringing is, and they don't mess with us at all, right? They bring us into the fold. We're making decisions, at least getting our opinion on what we think.
And it's clear communication. It's you know, we can do this. Yeah, if not, no. Then
it's really good.
You're not waiting like a week.
Yeah, and we love our relationship with them and their whole team and that whole company.
You guys brought Waka Flocka, I think, to College Park.
That was actually a funny story. I wish I could claim that we brought Waka Flocka. Okay. But what happened was he had a show in DC the next weekend after we opened that College Park location. We did all the marketing for the launch. Waka Flocka had a show the week after the launch, so he was in College Park trying to promote the show, right? And it just so happened to be that he was in College Park. The GM on sighting at that location saw him, said, "Do you want to come in?" Because we had this massive line out front when you come in, brand new bar opening. He comes in, and that was just like the cherry on top of everything for us.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, like sometimes things just work out when they should. So I wish I could claim that, but that's just
hey man, he was at your event.
Yeah, he was at our event.
And you didn't have to pay for that, right? Nah, dude,
not $1.
Dude,
yeah,
that's sick.
Barstool picked that up. We picked that up. Everybody picked that up. So that was great promo.
So the final question I have for you: if you had one message for the current ownership, what would it be at CVP? Or one message to Melanie, what would it be? If anything, you don't have to.
Let me think about it for a second. If I had to say anything to Melanie, I would say I wish you the best. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to start our business with you and learn. But I would learn to let somebody else take the reins and give up a little bit of control for young energy and vision. You have a great day-to-day, like a great daytime business, and if you want to grow the number one profit item inside of your venue, work with more people inside the community, and it'll pay you dividends. That's all I'm going to say.
Awesome. Hey, so for people that don't already follow Let's Tap In, what's the best socials to reach you and follow what you guys are up to and all that? You just tell the viewers.
Okay, sweet. If you are, I would say 18 to 28 and you're looking to party, I would follow our page Let's Tap In. If you are a venue owner, business owner, or someone looking to grow their digital community, follow our page TapIn Growth. That is our agency page, and we are launching a new website here at the end of June. That is letsalltapin.com or tapingrowth.com. So appreciate you guys. I'd love to connect with anybody. Free consultation, obviously. And if you know my boy Vlad, we're good. So appreciate you guys. Thanks, man.
Hey, man. Thank you for having time to talk to me. This is awesome. If there's one group that sees and hears it all, it's the bartenders. They're on the front lines every night, balancing chaos, customer service, and internal pressure. But what happens when the people pouring the drinks are the ones being pushed to their limits? The next conversation dives into reality behind the bar and what it really takes to survive a shift at CVP. Let's start with some intros. Can you tell us your name and how long you worked there?
My name is Kaiser, and I work there like
I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level.
5, maybe 7 months.
7 months, and you just strictly work behind the bar, or did you do any other like roles in there?
Just bartended.
What originally got you into the bartending? How long and how did you end up working at CVP?
I've been bartending for about like 10 years, but then my friend John asked me to come over.
That John the cook.
John the cook, yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, yeah. Got another interview with him as well. What was the bar culture like when you first started? How did it compare to other places you worked?
It was low. Like nobody knew what they were doing. There's no like control or management.
Was it like I know you worked at Riptide, but like was there not to compare to Riptide, but like other like examples? There wasn't a set like.
There's no setup. There's nothing. No training. Nothing. They just throw you back there.
I do remember that when we were upstairs, the dishwasher never worked.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel supported behind the bar, or was it more of a sink and swim environment?
It was like a sink or swim. It was almost like survival. Survival of the fittest working back there.
Did they like reward you on performance, or is it like if you like didn't like do certain things, did you like were taken off the schedule, or like?
No, at first it was just like, oh, he's good. Regulars were like, oh, we like him. But the thing is, like, I have experience. I knew how to like run my section of the bar.
Would you say you're more of a volume bartender, or would you?
Oh, yeah, I'm a high volume bartender.
You prefer to do high volume over like low key cocktails, stuff like that? Well, actually, which do you prefer to do? If you had the choice.
I know everything. I've managed to do everything now, so it's like kind of like easy either way.
But if you had a choice of like doing one or the other, like
I do like high volume.
High volume. How would you describe the expectations placed on bartenders there, both during shifts and behind the scenes?
I mean, they just basically hired anybody. So like, they just throw people behind the bar. So like, there's some people who knew what they're doing, and then there's people who didn't know what they're doing.
Was there a time you ever were asked to do something that fell outside your scope of your role?
Yeah.
Like what?
When I would hire managers or shift managers, I've experience with managing, so they would ask me to train them, but still do my job.
But like what? Like inventory or like payroll or scheduling?
Or show the managers how to do their job.
Oh wow. Any specifics you can get into?
That was inventory, counting money, how to use the system.
Let's talk about management. What was your experience working under Melanie or Eric?
It's a pain in the ass, honestly.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like she got in the way of you doing your work, your own
She
work?
would basically just like pull me aside, tell me what to do, all that. Eric usually on the side drinking with his friends, or should be drinking with her friends, and just ask me to do one thing, do the other. And then it was kind of just a giant.
Damn. Did you feel like they trusted your staff, or there always a sense of control or micromanagement? Well, I mean, I guess you kind of answered that. Like,
they didn't really trust the staff. They had like a whole control over the system. They were like,
did you work Halloween with us?
that was my last day.
Oh, that was your last day. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot if it was Halloween or something, but I remember that we didn't get paid our tips or something. They withheld our tips one event.
So in any event, they would withhold it. They wouldn't tell you how much you did, how much you did.
Yeah.
Make you work that event, but then they'll take forever paying, or they just never paid.
Yeah, or like they expect you to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember they always thought that people are stealing liquor from them, and it's like.
I mean, they did the biomet.
Yeah, the
barmetrics.
Barmetrics, yeah.
Barmetrics guy even told them like, hey, this is your numbers, but then they ended up firing him because they didn't believe it, so they started doing it themselves.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
How do you fire the guy that tells you your numbers?
Exactly, and then they also have favorites.
I did hear that from John in John's interview. He did mention that there were favorites. Do you like? What do you mean by that? Like, so like.
They have a favorite bartender, server, like favorite employees.
And they would always get like what, like the pride.
They'll basically like get what they want, like chefs, or like they can just do whatever they want.
Like walk on water.
Yeah, nothing will happen to them.
Were there any reoccurring issues behind the scenes that never seemed to be addressed?
Yeah, just cleaning.
I guess like the dishwasher. I think we told him like at least 1,000 times when we went upstairs, and it kept flooding because it's like, how do we clean our glasses?
Just cleaning, and there's no training in place. Just hire people and throw them onto the fire. Honestly.
There wasn't a standard, is what I guess you're saying.
Yeah, there's like no rules or like any setups at all.
How did communication work between ownership and bartenders? Was it professional, personal, or unpredictable?
It was unpredictable.
Did you ever get a text at like 3 a.m. from like one of the owners?
Yeah. I have a whole history of me going back and forth with them.
Really?
Especially
like what?
Sometimes they'll hit me when they're drunk.
Oh, like when they're heavy drunk?
Drunk, or like they'll tell me how to improve it, and then I'll tell them.
But they never listen, huh?
Yeah.
Never change it. Was there a moment or incident that made you realize the environment had shifted? Like, I mean, like, I know day one you probably went like, holy shit, like, what the f***?
I mean, it was basically like, they were concerned I was making more than others, because, like, I had my regulars come and, like, over tip me, or, like, randomly like something's missing, they start pointing fingers, or like they'll like listen to other people, but they won't bring it up and talk or check cameras. They just like go by what their favorite people said.
I was wondering if there's a correlation with that, because I remember when I was talking to John in his interview, he mentioned that they would hire people and then, yes, things would go missing and they would blame that person for that going missing. But I don't know how they were able to like write it off in like the sense of like...
No, they'll just let you go.
Yeah. Oh, that is another thing I wanted to ask. So, like, when you left CVP, was there a reason? And this is kind of what I wanted to go into. Like, were you, like, softly taken off the schedule, or were you, like, formally given a paper being like, hey, this is, like, your final day?
It was my last shift, Halloween training. It was also, like, daylight savings. So, like, basically, I worked that shift, and then I wasn't on the schedule.
Oh, not for the evening.
That was not for the following week. The schedule came out. I wasn't informed.
I do remember that. I think that's what I kind of want to go into, because it always feels like this happened to me as well. Like they just took me off the schedule, but it was never like a formal you're fired, and it's like
yeah. So they basically accused me of stealing a bottle that was still there, and then find out because I also endured racism through like some of the events, and then I witnessed a lot of behind the door. I called it once I started calling out. That's when my chest started getting cut off, and then they just wanted to get rid of me.
Yeah, because like
it's also the one time.
Do you feel like they think everyone around them is like an idiot, and it's like?
Yeah, no, like they have so much rules. Even the managers couldn't do anything about it. It also like, phew.
Am I giving you PTSD by talking about this?
Not PTSD. For me, it's just because I finally called them out on like everything, and then that's when everything. So they kind of felt offended. But like, if you text me at 3 a.m. while I'm at the bar and you're drunk, and I say what I have to say,
yeah,
I kind of got on her ego or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say it in a way that strikes home.
Then with Eric, the time I worked the Halloween party, I finally got a costume and everything. I'm on time. Then they just took me off the schedule. After I clocked in, they switched me down, took me off the party, put me downstairs, and apparently it was Eric's birthday, so he got drunk, started threatening customers and stuff like that. And the time with Johnny too for just drinking a Monster. We fired him for that. He was around yelling and fighting customers.
Yeah, I remember on one of my days there, because I used to work at the Maryland Lottery, and they had the lottery machine. I'm trying to tell him, like, bro, like the what's it called? The device is the clip is broken, and it's like,
yeah.
And it's like, I can call somebody to fix it, but it's like, let me physically show you as a man, like, what's wrong with it. And they were like, get out of here, and then they took me off my schedule. So I'm like, bro, like, that's like, how do you talk to someone like that?
Exactly.
Now, so the final question I do want to ask you is, looking back, what did working at CVP teach you about the service industry, about other people? And if there's one thing directly you can say to Melanie and Eric right now, what would you want them to hear?
The service industry, like, they basically just stole from the employees. They're from other people. They're not, like, they didn't have a standard.
There wasn't like a model to go off.
Yeah, there's nothing at all. Like the whole industry, that's probably the only place that actually did me dirty about everything.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say directly to them, like if you want to, for them to hear?
No, I mean at this point, not really.
Yeah,
I'll just step away.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of just pointless at this point.
I hear you. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for talking to me. Appreciate you taking the time. I know I took you away from you having. I don't know. Did you eat already?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Thank you.
If the kitchen runs the food and the bar keeps the drinks flowing, the managers are the ones expected to hold the whole place together. Schedules, budgeting, hiring, firing. There's a bridge between ownership and the people doing the work. But in this story, that bridge didn't always lead to understanding. Sometimes it was a wall, and the people on the other side, they saw exactly how decisions at the top trickle down to everybody else. In our next segment, we speak to a former manager, somebody who lived at the crossroads of pressure from above and frustration from below.
Killing in the name of.
Can you briefly describe how you first got involved in CVP and what led you into the general manager role?
The owner asked the person if they were looking for a general manager. She stated that, yeah, we are looking for general managers. So then they introduced me, and that's when I spoke to Melanie about the general manager position.
What were your day-to-day responsibilities as a GM? Were you given full autonomy to manage the staff and operations, or did ownership maintain a tight control?
Basically, I was a do boy. As far as me, my do boy is, I had no responsibility. Basically, it was just folding tables, putting tables out. Couldn't do scheduling. Couldn't do hiring. Couldn't do firing. It was basically just do what the owner asked me to do.
What was your working relationship like with Melanie and Eric Wagner? Did they allow you the space to lead, or were there constant power struggles?
They were always in control. I had no power of nothing. Melanie had all the power. She gave the general manager no power. Eric wasn't really there as much, so I really didn't work with Eric as much.
Were you ever expected to take on responsibilities that fell outside of your role, such as construction, maintenance, or non-management tasks?
Yes. So she had me build some tables. She had me paint some stuff. She had me hanging stuff. She had me do catering events, set up catering events without getting tipped out, which I was supposed to be tipped out for that, which never got tipped out for that.
How did Melanie's management style affect staff morale and overall workplace culture?
Basically, staff didn't respect me because they knew they could walk to Melanie if they had a problem. So basically, it was just me being a body or just me being a babysitter. That's what I felt like doing.
Babysitter?
Yeah, babysitter.
Did you witness or experience moments where staff were mistreated, unfairly disciplined, or brushed off? Undisciplined or forced out without valid reasons?
Yeah, there was a couple times when some staff, they just came to work and they just, there was nothing to do, so they cleaned up enough. So Melody just wanted to keep finding something to do, but there was nothing else to do, so they should just send them home for no reason.
What did accountability look like from the top down? Were concerns taken seriously or brushed off?
Concerns were brushed off. There was no accountability for a lot of stuff because there was a lot of, she was the GM, so basically, if she wanted to have somebody accountable for it, she'll do it. She would never let nobody else do it.
Were there ever times you felt stuck between protecting your staff and pleasing ownership? How did you handle that?
Nah, there was never no time like that.
Nothing at all? What changes, good or bad, did you notice in CVP's culture from when you started to when you left?
Nothing. CVP's been the same. I spoke to probably about 10 different GMs. They said it's never changed. It's always been like this. Melody's always been in control. And it's never going to change. It's always going to be, she's in control.
As someone who brought others into the business, like myself, do you feel responsible for what they experienced?
What does that mean?
Like, do you feel responsible for like anything that like I experienced while dealing there? Or...
Yeah, like when I brought you in to work there, I feel responsible because you were doing something, and she held you back from exceeding what you were being able to do what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. When you finally left CVP, what was the final straw? How did that decision affect you personally?
The final straw was when she just kept blaming me for stuff that wasn't in my control.
Such as what?
DJ didn't come on time. She asked me to DJ, so I said, yes, I'll DJ. And I said, only way I'll DJ if I get paid. I agreed on it with the other promotion manager, her name was Rosa. And she goes, yes, if you DJ, you get paid. So I ended up DJing. So when I got paid, she found out that I got paid for DJing, and it was probably about 2 or 3 months of being paid. And she took out $800 out of my check at one big chunk. So that was like my decision of just, this is too much. I can't do it.
If you could say one honest thing to Melanie Wagner right now, what would it be as a former GM and someone who knew their business inside and out?
I would say you are your own enemy.
It's a common theme we've been hearing. Hey man, I appreciate you talking to me. Let's see what happens next. I've listened, I've asked the questions, I've sat across from people who've carried these stories for years, but this last part, it's mine. Before all of this, I wasn't an outsider with a camera. I was just behind the bar, running food, talking to customers, and even helping market the place. I saw CVP from the inside, the good, the bad, and the parts you only notice when you've been there long enough to connect the dots. Now I'm stepping out from behind the scenes to lay it all out. Not as hearsay, but as someone who lived it. What you're about to hear is the truth as I know it. Drawn from both my experience and the wisdom of everyone who's been brave enough to speak. Oh, Hi everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch this documentary. I know it's been a very long ride, where I think we're about like 2 hours in right now. And I wanted to take the time to introduce myself for those that don't know me and how the next two last segments are about to go. So my name is Vlad. I am the producer and director of this entire documentary. I'm the one that called upon the people that formerly worked there. I'm the one that scheduled it, and I'm the one that made the interview questions. So if you're an attorney or a lawyer looking to pin it on anybody, please pin it on me. Do not bother anybody else, as I'm the one that mastermind and put this all together, because I truly believe that if this documentary would not exist, that the antics of the owners of the CVP would carry on and continue, and until a lot of people step up and talk about it, they're just going to keep bulldozing through and just doing what we've all described and what I'm about to describe that they have been doing. So for the first part, we're going to talk about my personal experience working there, the things I've seen and the things I've heard, and how the overall experience was. The second part is going to be what I speculate is going on, because I have to use these words like speculate or allegedly in this documentary, because for legal purposes, I can't just outright say this is what's going on. Even if I have all the facts into it, I have to use those special words. So for the attorneys watching, you know what I'm talking about. So without further ado, let's jump right in. All right. So part of me was thinking how I should film this, because I was going to use the teleprompter, and I tried it with the teleprompter and it just was no good. So I'm going to just do it without a script. I'm going to improvise as much as possible, and just bear with me when I do that. So I started CVP after going through my texts and notes that I was there from the end of September, and I pretty much made my exit around November, like mid-November, end of November. I originally started there to be a server bartender, but then people started talking about, that I have a background in marketing, social media, photography, videography, content creation. And with that, by like October, they moved me to a different role, still on the same pay rate of $4 or whatever it is the bartender servers make, but doing social media marketing. I will say though, like when I was doing the flyers and stuff, I think it was $20 an hour, because they didn't expect me to like work on these very long, and sometimes it does take a very long time to do. But what I noticed first that CVP was lacking was there was a lack of information there for sure. So if you're a regular coming in there, you're not going to know what specials they have unless you look it up on their Instagram or something along those lines. But so I started tackling all the old flyers, because the designs weren't really good. They seemed rushed, and I stressed that to the guy that was making them at the time. I promised him I would not mention his name, so there's my promise to you. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, the designs just were flawed. They weren't good. They seemed rushed. They seemed like somebody can create it on Microsoft Paint and just put it up in like 2 seconds. But so I wanted to create a new standard, as mentioned when we did the TapIn interview, that there's a standard that when you do marketing, you want to create an environment that every time a person comes to your establishment, you want to make sure that your flyers look similar or a little bit off, but like just they know that, okay, if I'm looking at the bottom left, it says 21 and up any time of your flyer. So they kind of get a programming in their brain knowing like what's going on. So that being said, I started removing all the flyers, all the old ones. I actually really wanted to purge the whole account because it was just that bad. But you can actually go to their Instagram and see where I left off, and you can see the clear difference where my photos were, how I was doing the branding, putting the logo everywhere. And it just got to a point where, things just got a little bit wacky. I mean, like day one when I started working there, I found that the application had a non-disclosure agreement, which I thought was really weird. Typically in bars and restaurants I've worked that do have it, they usually have high-end clientele coming in, maybe like football players, politicians, rappers, movie stars, you name it, right? But I quickly began to learn from doing this documentary that non-disclosure agreement was created to prevent people from the inside talking about the owners and their antics, because there are a lot of them in what they do. And, from the drinking, husband and wife constantly drinking while working there, or, entertaining their guests, which then eventually trickles onto the employees and or guests that are coming in I mean, like even last week I just had a anonymous text message, because it's kind of funny. Since I've been doing this documentary, a lot of people have been reaching out to me that anytime something goes wrong there, like they tell me, and I'm like, well, do they want to sit down and talk and all that? Because when you put all these patterns and behaviors from the owners, one thing becomes clear, that it's not the staff working there, because I loved working with the staff when I was there. It's the owners, and it all comes down from them, because they think they know better than everybody else, and it shows with the amount of people that come there, or lack of, that, you know, this is because of your own doing. There are so many things I saw was wrong with that place, man. Like from, you know, one of my friends, he was a manager there, wasn't allowed to schedule people. Every day I just see him building stuff, just doing handyman work stuff. When we were gearing up for the winter and things, like they wanted him to build this, like, if you go there, if you remember this when I say this, but if the place is still open by winter, go there and see the outside patio, and you'll see there's like a big covering or wrap plastic. I don't know what material it is, but it's pretty heavy and it requires a lot of people to set up. But she was expecting her managers to do that. I remember the bar manager was outside hosing down like random things, just tasks that bar managers don't do. Like, I mean, and this guy was like from Vegas, where he was a mixologist there, and from what I gather in Vegas, like it's pretty hard to be a bartender there. There's like a lot of different applications and loopholes you have to go through just before you even step foot in the bar, but I could be wrong. I mean, we had a chef from Atlas join us. He was battered down, basically. She asked him, the owner Melanie asked him to make her cookies, and then he asked her how many, and she calls him an asshole. Like, what? You know, things like that. I mean, there was underage girls working behind the bar, underage kids coming in there in general, because when me coming in there, everything was green to me. I didn't know what CVP is as much as I know now, and if I knew half the stuff I knew now, I would have never worked there. You know, the reason why it's so dead is obviously, like you see in Act 3, that around the Trump, the Insurrection, you know, they try to make a fundraiser to bring those kinds of guests in. It's just completely bonkers to do that. You typically want to keep your business, religion, and politics separate. Business is for people to eat with their families, just kind of chill and just relax, but not that place. And then what happened with TapIn? And, you know, as I'm doing marketing, I'm wondering, why are people not coming here? And then it turns out, like, I mean, pretty much all of Towson that's, you know, in the know, in the loophole, and like just knowing everybody knows that, you know, what happened there. And it's really hard to fix those bridges. And I tried really hard. Like, I mean, once I found out about them through the person I promised not to mention, and he told me the whole story, that what happened with TapIn, them being taken advantage of, is the reason why CVP's down. And even with that knowledge, I still tried to help them. I mean, even the guys from TapIn even called me, like, early then. Well, I forgot who I spoke with, but they said, hey, like, would you want to come and do work with us? And I was like, nah, because it's just, I'm already here and stuff like that. Not to say I wouldn't do work with them, but it was just a time and place thing. And so what else were we talking about? That place is, and I'm going to speculate when I say this, is blatantly racist. Of the times I worked there, when I was doing marketing, I was specifically told to reach out to campuses such as Goucher, Towson, Loyola, and Johns Hopkins. But when I brought up reaching out to places like Morgan State, she was telling me that she does not want that crowd. And I have even text messages of them saying they quote unquote do not want ghetto. I mean, there's even another instance. So ever since I started this documentary, people have been reaching out to me, right? Some that are ready to talk and some that aren't. And then I also have my eyes and ears and fingers in every pot, per se. And I hear the things that are going on there. And I know anytime that they slip up, like, somebody's always texting me about it. So last Thursday, this girl, apparently the owner of the place discriminated my friend because she was the other race. That's what she said in her text. I said, How evident or certain do you think it was that what was said? She said he was intoxicated and he had asked both of us if we had our IDs, but didn't even check mine, and he took my friends and didn't say anything except for asking for another form of identification. So I asked her, is it the older white guy, which could be Eric? She said yes. Sent him a picture and I was like, is this person, the guy on the right? And they said their friend that it might be him. And what else did they say? He said they just kind of laughed in our faces, said that we couldn't come in because we don't have a second form of ID. And then he walked over to two bartenders that were working tonight and said something to him. I don't know what was said, but he kept looking back and he told us that the security wasn't there yet for tonight. But then I heard later on that they never even scheduled security or to even be there tonight. So that even goes to another topic I want to talk about. And before I go into the topic, I want to talk about another text message I got from somebody saying that, hi Vlad, person said to reach out to you about CVP. I worked for Melanie and had a horrible experience. She hired me under false pretenses and lied about my salary. She was supposed to pay me. My father-in-law passed away during my training period, and she refused to pay me my salary while I was already going through all that. Her reason was she didn't want to pay me more than Nick, but she wanted me to replace him, ? I don't know, she was whack, and her husband was drunk majority of my time working there. Babysitting him was probably the worst part of the job outside of not being paid properly while working all these ridiculous hours for them. So basically, there's a common theme here, right? Owners getting drunk, and I, as the person that texted me last Thursday, talking about the lack of security. So me going back to talking about me working as a bartender server, when you're working upstairs during the, some of the busier nights, you have college kids coming in. This place has no way to check IDs. So typically, and they actually have the machine, they just refuse to pay it because I think it's some monthly subscription, but that subscription will prevent you from getting in trouble and failing these tests that the police might send out to catch your bar lacking. And what's it called? While working these shifts, even me, sometimes these girls or guys come in and they look baby face. I'm talking like baby face. And it's like, what do you do? Do you protect the establishment and be like, hey, I'm not serving you? Or do you serve them and then basically not even get tipped because they don't have money. they don't have going out money because they're young. They're probably using mom and dad's credit card, I speculate. But that's the position and the security there. I mean, and I feel bad for the guy that's there because it's just one guy. He doesn't have the tools for it. They don't want to pay, I speculate, that to hire actual real security. Now, I don't know if this is by design, that they just kind of be lofty with it, allow people to just kind of come in, try to scrounge up whatever scraps they can because people don't go there. It's known as the underage bar. Any Towson person you go out to on the street, I guarantee you, if you ask them what's the name behind CVP, it's the underage bar. And I mean, even for me, it was difficult to serve these kids. I mean, I even asked some of these girls for their ID, as I stated in another interview. It's a Vermont ID. What are you doing here if you're not in college, going to Towson, Vermont, really? But that's some situations you have to deal with when you're working as a bartender there. And this all stems down not from the managers, not from your coworkers. It's all from the owners. It's just cutting corners. It really is, bottom line. And it's crazy to think how are they still in business? And before I get into my conclusions of what I think is going on, I do want to tell the last story of the things I witnessed there. So Halloween was a big deal for me. Why? Because that was me being brought onto their team in marketing. And all of October, I started changing up everything when it came to social media marketing. I mean, you can go back into the messages, and unless they deleted them, they probably will delete it after this documentary just to make it seem like I'm making things up. But I still have the pictures and videos of everything. But anyhow, all of October, I spent changing up. I did multiple events. I did a beer pong tournament. And for that tournament, I asked the ownership, I was like, hey, can we make a cash prize? And I'm going to give a shout out to Mugshots because I used them as my inspiration for that idea because I've been there for their events and I thought it was brilliant. I've seen so many people involved doing playing beer pong. And at the end of the day, they won cash and they can flaunt it and say, hey, I beat 6 people like 6 teams of people, and I got $100. My partner got $100, and we drank and had a good time. So that was kind of the notion behind that. And our first event was successful. Like, I filmed the last winning shot for the other team, like whoever won. We had a whole bracket system. It was very thought out, very dope. Even after the games, people were stick around still shooting. So it was fun. It was dope. But the problem with that whole event was that I was asking the ownership, I was like, hey, can you put up like $200 for your community? Like, $200 ain't nothing, especially at a bar. Like, you're making that within like probably an hour or two, if not less. They were like, no, we want to do gift cards. Gift cards? Nobody's gonna come back and do gift cards. Maybe they will, I don't know, who's to say. But then we were playing for the Halloween party. Now here's the real kicker here for me. This is what really set me off. Basically, again, I was changing up all the flyers in the area. I was taking control of social media. I was posting pictures for them. Social media was rocking. You know, people are, and like, I'm not trying to sound cocky with this, but people were stopping me in Towson on the street saying, hey, you're the guy that's doing the marketing there right now, and we love what you're doing. It's night and day difference. Like, and it meant a lot to me. So I was like, all right, cool. And these are things that the current leadership could not do because they're a lot older. You know, they're not going to be out in Towson with people, you know, mingling, playing pool, whatever, getting to know other people. They're not going to do that. They're going to finish their shift, their 9 to 5, 9 to 4, 9, whatever, go home. You know, they're not going to get in touch with the community. Ownership too, in a sense. So we're planning all for Halloween. We buy these blood bags. They're like cocktail bags, and you can easily like fill them up with liquor. And we took all of CVP's unused liquor, the ones that weren't selling as much, and put them in these cocktail bags and selling them all for like $4. And me, another coworker, and like maybe 2 other people for like 6 hours straight were pouring all these mixed drinks cocktails into like a tub. It's like one of those like soup kitchen tubs, and we filled 2 of them to the brim for our Halloween party. And so we got rid of all our unused liquor. Then beforehand for this Halloween party, I made 3 videos, which I will post in a sense. Oops. I will post during my like, I'll fill the gap in just a moment with it. I'll cut the audio beforehand. But I made 3 videos for it. The first one was American Horror Story, which I filmed entirely at the restaurant. Now, I don't mean to be cocky again, but I knew all the working bars where all the people were going to. Like, you know, people were going to Fells Point at Riptide. People were going to Power Plant. People were going to Fed Hill. No bar had the video style or content or quality that I had put together. And it was just like insanely, like, there was a lot of good reception from it. I even doubled down, even tripled down. I made 3 other videos. One of Squid Games, because Squid Games was being released that October, I think sometime at the end of October or like early November. So for season 2 of Squid Games coming out, I made a Squid Games promo. Then I made a Stranger Things, and then I made a Black Mirror. So promo was rocking. Everything was all where it needed to be. All we just needed to do was execute. We also then did a costume contest where I printed out ballots for it. So working the event comes around, she's tweaking, much like we were talking about in TapIn's interview. She's like, I'm worried that we got all this good promo, but we don't have the people to come. We got to reach out to John Hopkins or somebody to say they're definitely coming. I'm like, chill, like, we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Show comes around, and I got videos to show it, so I'll find a time in this interview to show you. But like, we had a line outside the door. Every bar, upstairs, downstairs, back outside patio, packed to the brim. Costume contest was rocking. Everything did well. I will say I left my post because maybe some former employees might say that one thing that did go wrong that night was when you're serving underage kids and you're only making them 1 green tea shot and you have a whole line of kids just doing that. Plus, not only that, I was supposed to bartend that night, do photography, videography, run the costume contest, and help the underage girl who's serving alcohol, provide like liquor to people. So it's like there's a lot of stress for me and it's like my first event in a very long time that it's like I'm putting my name and my style behind it. And the event went well. There was no issues. I mean, towards the end there was a fight. Police got involved, but I don't know if that had anything to do with inside of CVP or just the streets. But the real kicker was, so I left my post. My coworkers were mad. Humbly, I apologize for that. But I was trying to talk to the owner. I was like, hey, can I get paid for that night? She's like, talk to the manager. And this is kind of going back to what Chef John was saying, that there's this barrier deflection. Oh, don't talk to me, talk to the manager. So I talked to the manager. He's like, yeah, they don't want to pay you. I'm like, so I tried to talk to the owner. I was like, listen, like, you're the one who is in charge of everything, really, because you're not even letting the managers do anything. They're kind of your lapdogs. So you make the final decision. I was like, can we just agree on a number? What do you think I got paid that night? Do you think I got paid 300? Do you think I got paid 200? Do you think I got paid 100? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. So after that, this is the beginning of November now, I told her, I was like, look, unless I have a contract, I'm not doing nothing for CVP. Like, no marketing, no photos, and nothing, because you got to also think about it. She has me doing photos and videography for the bartender's rate, where my rate is way different for that. Like, I was doing things for Soto Sopra for like over $400, and you're getting it for $4 basically, my quality and stuff. So I said, look, here's a contract. You can change any aspect of it, but I want to be the face of your nightlife. I will answer for it all. I'm going to do all your events. I got November ready to go. I have all the bands in mind that I want to put together. Just sign on the dotted line and we are good to go. I got you. You have nothing to worry about. People are already stopping me asking, hey, can my band play? And I'm like, yeah, if I can get the control for it, yeah, sure. But they never signed it. And the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back was, one day I'm not even scheduled. I'm just in the bar, just hanging out. And the owner, Eric, drunk, as per usual. I don't know what came from it, but they were saying the lottery machine doesn't work. And this kind of comes full circle, because the only reason I got in and got an application for that place was because I fixed the lottery machine. I don't know if many of you people know, but I used to work for the Maryland Lottery. So the machines that you see at the gas stations, machines you see at Walmart, I fixed and worked on a lot of them. I know the codes to even get in the back door of them if I really wanted to, but that's not what we're here for. But the machine wasn't working. I was able to fix it on day one, got the job app, and then I started working there September. This lottery machine, again, was not working, but the problem was, in a technical side, the roll of paper in it, if it's not properly socketed in, then the whole machine will just not function, period. So I went to go fiddle around with it, see what's wrong, and I noticed that the plastic cover that covers the roll is misaligned or jammed. So I tried to fix it, but I actually kind of made it worse. So the owner's drunk as a skunk comes up to me. He's like, you broke my machine, this and that, get out of here. And I'm like, take it easy, take it easy. I was like, are you good with your hands? Like, not like good with your hands like that, but like, are you good with your hands? Let me physically show you what's wrong with this. So like, you can understand what it is, so you can explain it to whomever. And he's like, just very aggressive, abrasive, spitting all over the place. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. So I end up leaving. But I also do them a favor by contacting my former manager saying, hey, there's a problem with this machine, because I still have my manager's number when I worked there. And I was like, can you guys send a technician out? And that's all it is. If there's a problem with the lottery machine, they just send a technician and they fix it. So I got that for them. I end up leaving. But then I noticed on my schedule that I'm not scheduled for the following weeks. And I'm like, is this seriously a punishment? I was like, it's not even like that big of a deal. Like, there wasn't words exchanged. I didn't call him stupid. I didn't call him like anything berating. It was just that. And it was already getting to a point where the things I'm hearing from management, the things that the owners were doing, that we already started not to like each other. And I was really worried of just being taken advantage of. And, you know, with the tips being, sorry, not the tips, but my cash register being short. And it was just like, they just knew that they weren't going to get over on me, I feel like. And I wasn't going to let them play their game. So eventually I left. And the way I left, and it's not a formal leaving. It wasn't like okay, you don't work here anymore, because they actually don't fire people. I speculate. And that will be talked about further in my conclusion. But more or less, that's the story of me working there. I know it's a lot to take in, but I guarantee you that, and I speculate, I speculate and allegedly think that this place is always going to be the same. And I will give you my conclusion as to what I think is going on in the next segment, because this all kind of goes full circle. I speculate that at the heart of Towson's nightlife power structure, there's more than meets the eye. And Charles Village Pub, where CVP sits right in the middle of it. One point of this triangle, the owners of CVP. They run the daily operations and hold the liquor license, the single most important asset for keeping their doors open. Another point, Nancy, a prominent figure in the Towson Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber controls the pulse of community events, street closures, and public image. CVP's consistent role in those events isn't just participation, it's positioning, and with positioning comes leverage. The final point, Baltimore County Liquor Board. They hold the authority to approve, revoke, or suspend liquor license. On paper, their role is about regulation, but in practice, I speculate that timing, connections, and relationships can tip the scales when it comes to enforcement. When you connect these 3 points, you don't just see a triangle, you see a loop of mutual benefit, where rules and penalties may bend, not because of policy, but because of who's connected to whom. I reached out to Nancy Hafford of the Towson Chamber of Commerce, asking to sit down for an interview. My goal was to ask questions about how the Chamber views businesses and business ethics here in Towson. In the process, I learned something interesting. Word around town is that Nancy is really good friends with Melanie, the owner of CVP. Now, I can only speculate how deep that friendship runs, but it certainly raised some questions about objectivity. During filming, the Chamber of Commerce actually contacted TapIn, the very outlet that had agreed to sit down with me, and made it clear they were not happy about the interview happening. And you can probably guess who may have prompted Nancy to make that call. I even have an email from Nancy herself. In that message, I described some of the things I've observed going on at CVP. Her reply came back in bold capital letters. Vlad, no one has ever complained to me about anything that is going on at CVP. That is my response. Both CVP and Nancy ultimately declined my request for an interview. If Nancy never heard anything bad about CVP, why would she be concerned about me sitting down with TapIn and hearing their side of the story? To follow up, if Nancy didn't hear anything bad about CVP, there are 3 possible reasons as to why. 1, she genuinely didn't know, and that's completely understandable given the disconnect between age groups and channels of communication that work there. 2, she did know but chose not to act, possibly to preserve relationships or avoid potential conflicts. I speculate that there might be something deeper going on between the 2. 3, she may have heard in passing comments or subtle mentions, but dismissed them as isolated or insignificant, rather than recognizing a broader pattern that's now coming into focus. Let's pivot to why I speculate the owners may be taking advantage of their employees and getting away with it. As we've seen with the current relationships in Towson, it's easy to see how one establishment can feel untouchable. As John mentioned in his interview, CVP is allegedly deeply in debt to their distributors. If that's the case, it starts to make sense why they might be penny pinching from their own staff. Take the Halloween event, for example. I wasn't paid for my work that night, and the same day, all staff were told we would not be coming home with our tips. Instead, we would have to rely entirely on Melanie to distribute payments. The same policy applied to any catering event we worked, and we would only see that money later, if at all. Another area that raises serious questions is CVP's ability to repeatedly beat liquor violations. Just this year and last, the bar faced 3 separate hearings, all with the same attorney, and each time all charges were dropped. The most recent hearing, rescheduled for January 6, 2025, was a hearing to show cause why the license should not be suspended or revoked due to alleged violations. These violations fall under the Annotated Code of Maryland Alcoholic Beverages articles, including Section 13.2.101, Application of General Provision, Section 6.304, Selling or Providing Alcoholic Beverages to Individuals under the age of 21 years. Additionally, violations were cited under the rules and regulations of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore County, including Rule 27, Managers' Employment of, and Rule 28, No Sale to Minors. Essentially, these charges were related to allowing underage drinking, improper management practices, and violation tied to who was responsible for overseeing the alcoholic service. Even with these serious allegations, CVP has managed to have all the charges dropped repeatedly. TapIn also reported that the violations occurred during their partnership with the bar, further suggesting a pattern. While the exact context the CVP has at the liquor board are unknown, I can only speculate that the relationships or influence may be involved in navigating hearings in their favor. Adding to the concern is CVP's securities practices. As Johnny mentioned in his interview, he often had no proper tools or procedures to verify IDs, leaving staff to rely on guesswork.
This lack of oversight allows underage drinking to happen with surprising frequency, and yet despite these clear vulnerabilities, CVP continues to avoid consequences. As this documentary comes to a close, I want to remind viewers that much of what you've seen reflects my own observations and speculations about what's happening behind the scenes at CVP. I hope that by bringing these stories to light, someone with more influence and authority than I have can take a closer look and uncover the full truth. For now, these are voices, experiences, and patterns I've been able to document, and I leave it to the others to continue the investigation.